I mean, I did a call, but I didn't go on, because I drove up on the road by the storage units.
Okay. Yeah, I've been down there once, but I haven't.
I've been down there several times, just, I never,
He brings Angie into these conversations and stuff. He requests Angie to sit in on these things, it's not very fair to her.
Visited with her, yeah, she's caught in the middle,
I know,
you know, because this is that, you
I know.
know, she doesn't like it, you know.
Yeah, it's a separate issue, you know. I think that was ever in your job description, wasn't it?
was the wind gonna go today or not?
Yep, wind moves to fluid areas.
Was there a fire last night?
I don't think so. Talked to the fire chiefs.
Well, I saw the fire truck go by my place.
Think there's a tree down maybe, a power line. I don't know.
It was like maybe 10 after 10. Like a
Yeah,
chestnut, and I don't know where it went from there.
I'm not seeing it.
There's a tree down over on Walnut. Fell in Howdy Doody's car. Hit a power line.
Boy, there would have been, it just, that wind was just unreal.
Yeah, I guess we are.
How many, just us?
Just me. Yeah, the Black Hills is fighting fire out there, I know.
What is there, two of them out there now?
Stone area.
One by Murdo, I think.
Yeah.
By River?
Murdo.
I didn't do it.
You were supposed to.
Oh, I supposed to.
Don said he was coming right back, or was he?
He got a phone call, he said he had to take.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Well, it's 9 o'clock, let's begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes of our March 23rd meeting? The only thing I had was at the bottom of the page. First page, motion by Zempel, second by Johnson to adjourn as Roberts County Planning Commission and to convene as Board of Commissioners, motion carried. And then when you flip the page, motion by Vergelt, second by Zempel to adjourn as Planning Commission. So which is it?
Okay, we'll take out.
I'll take out the first sentence on the last page.
That, okay.
That work?
That one's deleted? Okay.
Trying to follow along on that. Too many motions.
Yeah. Anything else? Oh, okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the amended minutes in today's agenda by Vergelt? Is there a second? By Johnston. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. You bet. Public comment?
impact that, someone complained about someone's building a memorial in a ditch down on Valley Road, so Drum Valley. And they were parked on the road, people were named by, they were parked on the road, had to buy up the road line, like they're digging up the ditch and building some kind of
I
memorial
didn't
or
see
something.
that, but I know they've had a lot of stuff.
In the ditch, I don't know where they're gonna mow it, so.
They're in our road right away there, or what?
Yeah, they're in the ditch.
In the road right over. They've got them flowers there since that person,
There wasn't, they used to always have a few flowers back there, now they're all digging a heart-shaped trench and I don't know what they're.
Yeah, we'll have to get Pat down there and investigate. Okay.
Is Weech Road, is that on now?
It's on Valley Road, County Road, south of Grand Valley.
All right.
And then someone complained that they got stopped by a deputy just for not getting their headlights. And they came up the window and knocked on the window and wanted to talk to me, but not like wouldn't wear a mask. Deputy wasn't wearing a mask.
Okay. Can you bring that up to Tyler then when it comes? Anything else? I had a couple of calls. One was on the $1,800 tax abatement that we approved last week. I'll be getting back to that constituent on the specifics of it and how a veteran would be eligible and what went through on that. I need to get the specifics from Sherry or somebody on that, maybe even Faye. You dealt with it.
There's an application, I mean, Angie should have it, she should be able to assist. You know.
Angie would have that?
Yeah, she should.
Sorry about that.
Or the treasurer's office.
Okay,
I think Angie was the one that initiated that one
okay,
in particular.
okay. All right. And the other comment that I had was the condition of our highway department storage building, what a dilapidated building it is, and I just said it's a priority of ours and we're working on a replacement.
Maybe it blew down last night.
I don't know, it stood for 100 years, Doc. We're gonna take bets, I'll bet that it didn't. So
Sure, you're right.
that's all I had. Jim, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, I'm here with the city attorney.
Dylan?
We'll let him,
Very good.
So what I just handed each of you is a new draft of the county open burning ordinance. The other pieces of paper are the statutes that I cite to in the draft ordinance itself. I'll go through it with you here to explain or point out differences from the one that's currently on for the county. First, in the second whereas clause on the first page, I updated the citation to a South Dakota codified law. The old one referenced just the normal public nuisance statute. I changed it, if you look on one of the addition pages, to SDCL 7-8-20. If you go to subsection 18 on that second page of it, I highlighted number 18. That gives the county commission direct authority to enact an open burning ordinance. So just to make it cleaner, I changed this citation directly to that instead of just a general public nuisance. In section 1, in the open burning definition, I added the sentence in the fourth line from the bottom of that definition that talks about fireworks. That definition was not in the open burning definition in the previous ordinance. And with looking at an example I got from Jim from a different county, we both thought that fireworks that produce sparks should be included. The section A, or subsection A in section 2 is entirely new. In the old ordinance, the only way to prohibit the open burning on a blanket policy was by motion and resolution in front of the county commission board. In looking at the example from another county, I ripped this almost entirely from them. This would put in that prohibition if the South Dakota Grassland Fire Danger Index is in a very high or extreme category, or the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning. This way, if there's, weather conditions change on a Wednesday, this puts in the prohibition before you guys would meet again the following Tuesday where the conditions may be gone. The Grassland Fire Danger Index is accessible online. I found it with just a quick Google search, and I believe you said there's a way that the dispatch office can get that information and report sent to them.
Yeah, they can get that forward from the warning coordinating meteorologist from the Weather Service. We'd be in a red flag, which we were yesterday. The other thing that they can do is, every day at 10:05 is the weather briefing from the National Weather Service. And it's on, I can show them that channel, it's just the northeast weather. It's on a special ops that they can get and listen to that at 10:05 if their time allows, or somebody should listen to them. And they would only need to do that if, they're gonna know if we're in a bad situation.
And they can call dispatch and they can tell them too, can't they? I mean.
And they can, and they probably do that, but I think what they do is send out a mass email, just like they would with a winter storm warning, post on all the schools, all the PSAPs, get that same notification.
That's showing that alert sense that we have as well then?
Well, no, it wouldn't, but we would, well, it would, yes, but what we would do is send out a separate notice of the alert sense status as we issue that we are in a burn ban.
Yeah, okay.
And then from the original ordinance that was on file, it is section B, that independent of the Grassland Fire Danger Index or red flag warning, I left in the authority for you guys to institute a fire danger emergency by yourselves if you feel that there's things that, a situation that would require it without the input from the fire danger index or red flag warning.
If I could, just one thing with that. We're putting in there that we are in a red flag warning. There's also the chance that we could go into a watch, which would precede the warning. That would give you guys then some time if we needed to implement whatever that subsection would pertain to, if I'm saying that right.
Yep. Yeah, so then if there's a red flag watch and you guys would want to institute the prohibition, then you guys still have the authority to do it by motion and resolution, as we did before. Section 3 is all brand new. I just put in an exemption section if there would ever need to be a reason that a fire official would need to have something burned in order to preserve life or property. I don't think that would come up often, but I put it in there to have it in case there needs to be, in case there's a situation that arises for it in the future. And that can only be invoked by a fire official, so fire chief, fire marshal, anybody in that type of capacity.
And then just to a lot of this stuff came from the fire marshal's office. When I was out in here, I asked him about this and he forwarded this stuff on and the resolution came from you.
In section 4, the reporting, the first two lines, it's just a reference to the fire danger index or the red flag warning from previous. And then starting on the 5th line from the bottom, subsection A, I added language in there that a person who had called in to inform the sheriff's office that they would be doing a controlled burn, they must also call back when the burn is concluded. That way, if they call in and it's concluded and then it flares back up because it never went completely out, then we have the knowledge to send a fire unit where people aren't just assuming it's still the same controlled burn that had happened earlier in the day. Section 5, just another update, or statutory citation update. The previous ordinance cited directly to the Class 2 misdemeanor penalties and the civil injunction laws. I changed that to Section 7-18A-2, which you guys do have a copy of. I give you a copy of. It just makes it cleaner to cite to this statute, because that statute then in turn cites to the penalties for a Class 2 misdemeanor and the civil injunction laws. I guess, in my opinion, it's just cleaner citing to the one section that covers both of those things instead of citing to the other two things that may seem confusing. And this is just the type of action that we can take as a county for someone that violates the ordinance. I hand wrote in the amount of the fine just because it didn't say it. But pursuant to 22-6-2, which is the penalty provision for Class 2 misdemeanors.
And the $500 is a state statute then?
Yeah, that's 22-6-2, that's 7-18A2 cites to.
This wouldn't have any effect on municipalities. For instance, I'm not sure if Wilmont Rubble site is outside of city limits or inside of city limits.
This would have no effect on municipalities. This is for the unincorporated sections of the county that you guys have authority over.
Yeah.
And then Section 7, there on the third page. I put this in there so that if there's anything that we don't know about for some reason in the county ordinance book that conflicts with this, it repeals it. And then I put in specifically that it repeals and replaces the old open burn ordinance.
Looks like some very good work on that. Can we assign a resolution number for this today? So we can act on it today?
Are you doing an ordinance? If you're doing an ordinance, then we should have to go through all the
Publish and all of
hearing
that stuff, okay. All right,
So that's what you want to do, correct?
is that the wishes of the board?
I think so.
Then we'll start the process of the ordinance.
So for us to implement a burning ban today, can we do that by motion based on our old ordinance?
Until it's repealed, I believe so.
All right.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Carlson to implement. Would that be effective immediately, Don? There's a second by Zempel. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
So yeah, until we've completed the ordinance process for this new one, you'll still be operating under the old one where Burbank needs to do a motion resolution with you guys.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, thanks for the work you two on that.
Thank you, Bill.
That's did the work.
Yeah.
This is a request to the fire chiefs, obviously, and they're grateful. Probably not say it directly to you, but they're grateful that you did this.
So do you want something like this in paper?
Do you know, Jim, what's, I've just seen highlights, fires out in the hills, what's going on in Black Hills,
Yeah.
I don't know what started it, no.
How big is the fire?
Isn't there another one that's fine over here?
I guess I haven't really heard.
No, because we have to go through the ordinance process. That's about 30 days.
Yeah.
I just saw like 150 people were evacuated. There's a couple homes over.
Well,
I haven't seen the news program, they say, well,
You look at it.
maybe I thought you had an update or something.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have. I'll leave this, you can discuss.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
For your time, appreciate it.
I guess apart from that, I don't have anything else this week.
Got everything they wanted. Thanks, Jim.
Have you put any thought into our changing our policy on our COVID?
I haven't yet, I apologize, it's been
Okay, that's fine. I kind of Googled yesterday if we have the right to do things, and so I just Googled, can we enforce employees that, and I found some interesting things. And
Okay.
I was just curious.
No, I haven't dug into it at all yet. I'll do so as soon as I can.
Because coming up on Thursday, all of us up upstairs, and at least one in the basement has had, well, and have had their vaccines.
Second, first and second, or just first?
First, I'm due for my second on the 8th of April.
Okay.
One of the employees are doing the Johnson & Johnson on Thursday, GDP. So,
We have, I think, a couple employees that chose not to.
I'm not real
I'm
sure.
just-
That's what I've heard. And I know Dylan, you've had yours. correct?
I've had my first shot, I go back for my second one on the 8th.
Okay.
I'll do some research. I know there may be some different rules for public employers versus private employers. There's differences on what you can do with employees in the public sector versus private sector, so.
Are you talking about mandating people get shots, or what you're mentioning?
Our policy right now is, we give paid leave.
Oh, sure, yeah, so if they choose not to get the shot, then the debate is whether they can get that additional sick time.
Yeah, designated for COVID.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay, yeah.
What I kind of read on is if it's religious beliefs, you
Yep.
have to have documentation and disability. Were the two issues where you possibly couldn't.
Do you know if that was public or private?
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I'll try to have something for you here soon, because I know as we get further down the line as far as vaccinations are concerned, it becomes more of a pressing issue.
Just saw something came across my phone this morning, that was kind of interesting. They talked about, not exact on the number, but 22% of the people are under the age of 16, so they would be eligible for the vaccine right now, of the 330 million people. 25% of adults, they estimate, are probably not going to get the shots. So that puts it at about 58%, and I think they're talking about herd immunity at 65, 70, 75%. So it sounds like they're not even going to hit that number if everyone did what they anticipate they're going to do. So it's kind of an interesting thought.
Anything else for me this morning?
Nothing from this end.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
No, that's the that you're going to do.
Thank you.
Dawn, are we preparing another bill for the city for their
Oh,
contract for
I
April?
I sent one for April.
We did, okay. And I assume they paid us for the first 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I sent it with the, I did.
Okay, all right.
How, Brown County Auditor has sent out an email regarding our regional meetings. And I don't know, maybe we've skipped one. Okay, Dennis, you were in Aberdeen,
Yes, I went to the last one. And
the last
went-
one.
That was almost a year ago, maybe, in
Yeah,
April?
so we haven't had them. How comfortable are you guys hosting?
Or is it our turn already?
Well, that's what they're trying to decide if they're going to continue the cycle thing we've missed, and that's kind of one of those things. I just was gonna throw it out there.
Yeah.
If it comes up that they said, okay, it's Roberts County's turn like in July, June or July, how comfortable are you guys hosting the meeting? I guess.
Didn't you say at the last one, there were very few people who were wearing masks?
Oh, yeah.
There was some meeting you were at.
Well, that was the Aberdeen meeting, which, the COVID virus was still pretty dangerous in most people's opinion, and there was not, well, there was hand sanitizer, but nobody was masking up, and there was no distancing, people were sitting side by side for the meals, and even at our peer meeting, there wasn't much caution. So personally, I think if they want to do it, that the next county that missed, whether Grant or which one, would be Bay or Marshall, or that they take their turn instead of having all of those skipped over and then go back to us, you know?
So Brown had it, then it would be Grant, Day, Marshall, and Roberts. But what they're looking at is, well, maybe we should just get back on the schedule. I don't know, that's the auditor from Brown.
You know, personally, I don't think that calendar's
saying,
good.
well, if Grant doesn't want to do it, do you want to do it? Say, well, Grant doesn't want to, why, you know, if you can't follow the schedule, then don't have it.
Right.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is they're just looking at the months of the year instead of going
Yeah,
counting, and then
yeah,
starting over.
yeah.
And I'd prefer the counties that didn't host it last year take their turn.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It would be difficult, I mean, we've had the last ones at the city hall, I suppose, I mean, I suppose you get those people spread out far enough if you wanted to, but you certainly haven't been in the past either, but to me,
Well,
it's
it's
to me, it's
just
a good excuse not to have the meeting, which I don't particularly care for anyhow, so.
Yeah. And the spring workshop is in Pier on May 4th and 5th. After your guys' experience down in Pier, I kind of decided I wasn't going to go. So Jay, Mark, and I, none of us are planning on attending the spring workshop.
I don't plan on going back.
And some of the agenda items, I mean, it didn't look that something that we felt that we had to really attend. And then I'm thinking about, you know, you've got all the counties and you've got all these people, and I guess we're not gonna go. We've chosen not to.
Well,
Ask
again,
for permission to go.
If you listen to the CDC guys, they're talking about a fourth surge as a result of Easter and the
When you look at
vacation.
when you look at the increase in cases, at the same time, we've had so many people being vaccinated. How many would get it that wouldn't have a vaccine?
Yeah.
We've been right back where we were 3 months ago. With a huge surge of that.
I don't know if you saw the email that came out, you weren't here last week, but about 2 or 3 days after the sessions that we were attending,
Yeah.
somebody reported it, that, well, they were COVID positive.
Oh, I didn't see that, no.
And we had no idea if any of us were in close contact. We obviously had our masks off when we were eating, but and there was no distancing there. But they had somebody.
Yeah, they're not doing any contact tracing.
I guess I'm just kind of surprised they're taking that attitude, really.
So they get it from the top.
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we should promote group gathering, no.
I agree.
I think we're kind of at a crossroads here, and it just,
Well, you know, you read all of the, hear all of the encouraging results of the vaccines, but like you said, I read that a long time ago, that somebody predicted, they said, well, 25% of the population is too young to receive it.
yeah.
And another 25% won't take it. So the best you could hope for is 50%. That's
Yeah.
not enough to give you herd immunity, so
No.
this is a long ways from over, if that's true.
Well, then with these new strains coming about too, I mean,
Now you never know.
The North Dakota and Minnesota have opened it up to all of their ages. It doesn't, they don't have to.
So that's why.
I think Biden said that too recently, that by April 19th, I think everybody of any age group would be available to them, so.
Because my 45-year-old son just got it yesterday
Okay.
in Minnesota.
I guess if you wanted, it's just my own personal opinion, but instead of just telling the auditor flat no or not, but, you know, these Zoom meetings can be pretty productive, and they're much shorter than a get-together meeting.
Exactly.
And I think that there is probably some good information that could be shared, particularly how the marijuana thing is gonna develop and any other legislation that's gonna go into effect
Okay.
July 1st. So I guess I would recommend a Zoom meeting, virtual meeting, or whatever you wanna call it, so.
I'd agree with that.
So you just don't flat tell them, no, we're not interested.
And, you know, according to Kathy, we were down the line, you know, but in July
Well, that
would be when we would be scheduled. But I just wanted to throw it out there because emails are going back and forth. And
Okay.
the Brown County Commission sounds like I've got commission curious about if we can start meeting again.
Well, by the time July rolls around, maybe we'll have a different
It's probably-
attitude about it.
Probably Dwayne Sutton, I mean, he's pretty adamant for us.
Brown County, if they hosted one, I mean, they're one of the worst ones in the states. Or in the state, I mean, because of the population and shit, but.
Oh, anyway, that's kind of something to think about.
Okey-doke.
And these are, he can't come in, he was gonna come in this morning. But, one of the fences went down in the wind, last night, so they kind of have a mess out there. So he had sent that other letter, he needs to know today what letter to send. He said if you guys wanna tweak the one that he just sent, that's fine with him. But I need to let him know. And I think that if the loads are found to be knowingly misrepresented, then that's kind of what he wanted in there, to be able to say, okay, if you're saying it's this, but, you know, on a Wednesday and we're finding it's that, we can charge you double.
Oh, I think he was talking about, people, you know, it says in-state roads and find out from other states.
The casino there. I'd like to see one word change in that second sentence where it says, for this reason, we are requesting, I'd like to see some more, I'd like to see it, we are requiring Wednesdays not be used for your scheduled drop-off dates. I mean, if you say you're requesting it, you're saying, yeah, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I said that, I would just put that we are requesting help to say, for this reason, Wednesday is.
That would work too. That would work too, but yeah, I think just because we're giving them an option, I don't think we want to do that.
Take all that we are requesting out.
Yeah, say
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
For this reason, Wednesdays not to be
May
used.
not be used.
May not be used for your schedule.
And then misrepresented is misspelled.
That's right. I'm not a speller, but I didn't think that was right either.
That's all that word is. What is.
Okay, when you use the word may though,
Or you can say will.
you still have a, I mean, in terminology,
Can, or
laws,
maybe you should say cannot use.
or shall not. If you follow codified laws, may,
Yeah,
shall.
it's an option.
But I like, other than that, for this reason,
Say shall not be used.
okay.
So where is that now?
Wednesday shall not be used as a scheduled drop-off day.
Shall not.
Okay, send it back to DJ then?
Yeah, I'd let him make sure he's comfortable with it. And he said he wanted to get it in the mail right away, because they're sending it tomorrow or the next day.
Tomorrow, yeah. Okay, so we're taking out for this reason Wednesdays shall not be used as your scheduled drop-off days. And then I Googled to make sure that I spelled misrepresented. So, and then that was the only change?
For me.
Okay.
So I didn't want to take up the time of the other people that were in the room. But as we're batting around the idea of replacing that building out there, and what has happened with the costs of wood and metal a concern, I stopped in and had a real good visit with Jan McClary, who put up that concrete building. And she says, oh, I get a call just about every week from the gentleman that we bought the material from. It's Hutterite Colony over in Britain. That does that.
Is that the Napa store you're talking about?
The Napa store, yeah, the Napa store. And I said, well, concrete really isn't a very good, have a very good R value for insulating. She said, well, the thing is that there's insulation in between the two concrete slabs. And I said, well, how do you heat and cool this building? She says, we have in-floor heat. I said, oh, no wonder it's so comfortable when you come in out of the cold, and it's just, so they have in-floor heat, and she says, we burn waste oil to heat the building. And said, you see that little air conditioner on the wall? That's what cools the front part, and then they have a couple other ones scattered throughout the rest of the building. But she shopped around quite a bit to find that that was the best value. She acted as the general contractor and subbed out, of course, the floor work, the heating and the pouring of the floor, the electrical, the roofing, all of that sort of thing.
How do they do the electrical with concrete walls?
I'm not really sure on that, if they do, if they do surface conduit, or if they allow for a hole in there because they have, the cutouts for other things, but, so I got the gentleman's name and whatever. Well, as long as we're looking at options, why not?
Yeah, I talked to a guy this past week, and he got a quote on a building last year for just cold storage. And the number he threw out, no electricity, no floor, no insulation, it's just the building, $25 a square foot. So that, when we figure that, the one he laid out, 128 by 58 or something like that, was like $280,000. And that was last year before all these prices went sky high, so. We were just kind of talking amongst ourselves this morning before everyone else got here, that is this the right year to really do a project like that, because of the material costs and possibility. I mean, there's probably work that could be done out there in advance, like getting things leveled off and figuring out where you're going to put it, and maybe have all the specifications laid out so when you're shovel ready. I guess if the prices go down next year, you're shovel ready and more bids and move
We
forward.
get it ready, so we have everything ready to bid, you might say, and then the prices go down next year.
Yeah.
It might take us that long to
Well, it
get
might,
to that
yeah.
point anyway, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
things to consider.
So I just mentioned that I talked to a guy from the lumberyard, and last year at this time, OSB, which is pretty much garbage board that they use for sheeting and everything, was $11 a sheet from a lumberyard. This year it's like 41, and it's going up from there. The guy thought it might be as high as $50.
OSB?
OSB, yeah, it's $41 right now, and they can't get it.
Yeah, I heard that.
You were saying some guy was promised just one carpenter guy, like one skid worth or something like that.
Yeah, right
What
up
do you
here,
give a
Jeff
price?
said, that one pallet of that OSB, but he had to go, you can only get one pallet, or one per company.
Jay's son, Derek, lives at Market, and he's bought property north, somewhere, which is a subdivision outside of Wapaton. He was going to build a new house. But he's building a garage this summer, and he already got, with this, he went to Menards and he saved like over $2,000 just with the sheeting for the garage. He's just gonna put up a small garage and then, until the family's building the house.
Yeah.
The garage at that time, but just for kind of storage and stuff like that. But he saved over $2,000 by buying it now and storing it till June.
Oh, really? Just buying it now? Wow.
Yeah, he bought it and he's storing it and,
Because of that 11% sale that they have going on? Is that what it's saying?
well, maybe he shopped around it. It was just
Oh,
cheaper going
well, I'm
there
sure
than
the way
lumberyard at,
cheaper, yeah.
Walker and Breckenridge.
Yeah, these small independent lumberyards must pay dearly.
Did you get any other letters regarding that?
No, we did not.
Did you call that cement company then?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to bounce it off you folks to see
Yeah.
what you thought, if it should even be a,
Well, you see a lot of them.
Consider it an option or whatever,
you
but-
know. Grant County's storage is cement, but
yeah. I think she has 18-foot sidewalls on that thing too. Yeah,
Thanks, Tom.
wouldn't need it quite that high, but saw pictures of them producing the panels and whatnot.
Didn't he build his house not out of concrete? And he talks about, in typical Butch fashion, I can heat it with a match and cool it with ice cube, But,
Sheldon Homes their house is built like that too.
is it all concrete?
Yeah, well, with that styrofoam and concrete that they built or something.
Oh, sure, yeah, the,
Larry Peterson was doing that for a while. I don't know if
Yeah.
he still is or not.
yeah, they say if you're gonna finish your basement, that's probably the way to go. You get the screw rated, and there's screwy strips in there, you can screw it into it. Everything, but otherwise it's fairly expensive. You look at Menards to buy a 18-inch block that's 12 by 18, I think it's very expensive. You consider you gotta do a one, but yeah.
So you want to start the process on that new ordinance, correct? Okay.
The ordinance thing for this afternoon, is that the one that Chuck's concerned about here?
Yeah, it's on 11.
11 o'clock, we got both the ordinances.
And you said you talked,
no, Dawn.
Was Todd?
Todd, yes, thank you.
Was Todd coming to this one today? Was he
He's gonna be on.
He'll be on.
On phone.
When I talked to Sherry, she was gonna try and set up a conference call,
She
so.
did.
She did, okay, so Chuck is gonna call in also.
All right.
But
But again, is it not that he's talking about, he's barking up the wrong tree with us in this existing problem?
That's when I replied to Dawn, I said, in my understanding, this ordinance does not pertain to that property specifically. It's a ordinance that allows storage permitted in private commercial anywhere in the county, not
Right.
that specific property.
Right, exactly.
His complaint doesn't apply to it. It might apply to the building permit when I get to that point. Then we're talking about that
did you
specific
say
property.
that message that we're running ahead?
Well, that's what I got out of it too. I mean, that's what Todd kind of said the last time
I
we talked.
emailed her.
Every time this guy's come in, the first time on the phone, and the second time when he's here, he just goes back to
Just
the
did two of them.
pollution, but that's not the issue that we're trying to
That's,
resolve.
because that doesn't apply to every property in the state.
Right. Yeah. All right. Fine, if you're gonna leave, I'm leaving too.
Yeah. Go home.
You stay here, Dawn.
Me?
Yes. There it is.
Maybe we want to send a letter. Hey Pat, you can come anytime. Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, you bet.
Pam was telling us she's requested that the nerves that were 80% after our first shot. Which one did he get? That's what she did. Then they have to make sure to get back here again. 28 days. How much younger is she than Andy? 3 years. Did she forget what same year as you? I don't know. There's so many different criteria out there too. I don't know what the deal was for sure. Yeah, so is Minnesota. Oh, are they? That's where Diane and Doug are getting. I don't know if she said she was getting it this week or next week. She said, no, she's getting, her and Doug were getting Johnson Johnson. One shot done. That's true, it's gonna, yeah, that's a good point. You gotta load them up, take them with you. Probably can't take them in with you. I'm just wondering about, gonna help pay for it, and I guess you're gonna hard money on that too, like, you really need this? She's kind of always getting these ideas in her head, and she knows more than her, and she changes to something else. That's a little teenage driver. And our college families, we never really did like that. Now we're kind of
talk about that again.
I don't, I think Tom is handling it. He feels like it's in his district, and he was going to respond back to one of the letters that was written. And then he has been in contact with the funeral director about what you've got there. Dawn put in front of me the contract with the South Dakota Department of Health. And this is pretty routine that we do this each year. South Dakota Department of Health, Family and Community Health, Child and Family Services.
Hello.
The amount is $17,000, and county agrees to pay installments of $4,300 on each of the following dates quarterly.
Yeah. Wherever that, on there. Yeah, there it is.
Is this the guy that used to come and retire a year to go doctor or something on those kind of organization out of Watertown?
Watertown, I don't know if it's the same person right there. Yep, right. I think that's, I'll get Dawn to clarify that, but I think that's Sarah's.
It's off the right away.
Sarah's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's on the
Oh, yeah,
right.
we talked
Can't
about
say
program
that.
and yeah.
The fence is right behind it. It's right inside. Oh, I didn't know they dug though.
Yeah, we.
Our share ends up being
See, it wasn't
our share
like
ends up
that.
being
No, they
17,000.
just
Yeah,
put their-
okay.
Do you know who's doing that? Huh? That's the one with the guy from Walmart, isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's not?
No, that's-
Because you know the guy from Walmart went off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's it. No, that's it.
That's where this memorial is though, is where he went off, right there. See, we got an X sign down right there. That's actually where he went off with that car.
Oh, Hanson.
I've seen that.
Yeah, this is Hanson's here that went off right here. And then that's who's done it.
I know it's.
Yeah, well, definitely they can't be doing
I
that.
know, I think it's a whole anything around.
Huh?
Hanson's is up there ways.
He went right off, right where we did beside this. The fence there, went into that hill, right? Into the pasture. Right into the pasture, right up here.
Yeah.
Either right here or right here.
Yeah, up there is where he went off, but, see, that was way when I hit that cemetery right there, and I don't know why that happened.
No.
That's Ken.
Marks for the side, everything was right down there. somebody put fence right there.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
Wasn't that where it was?
that's where, but I mean, they, since that happened, that's when this all
State's
comes
attorney,
out.
all the work.
Well, no, we had a little bit there before.
That's
They
it.
had
The first that.
Nice article on it. Fact, it's an act in that area, but
Little flowers, stuff there, and also there.
John, how much could it increase? if it's-
What I'm gonna do is I'll have to call the sheriff's department, and see the
And that
digger
nurses?
now, and then I'll watch it when we come back. And then
I was curious.
I'll tell them they can't, you know.
Yeah,
That's like
first, they
$17,000.
gotta get a-
I just see all these Native Americans there.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, I know, well.
well, they just had some stuff there, I thought, well, that's
Yeah.
fine if they.
That was-
Now they're digging in the pit, so. Morning.
So did I overhear you say you're going to involve the sheriff in that?
Yeah, I'll have to let
They're doing that.
them go monitor that, because we have to have our labor go and go fix it, you know,
Right.
put dirt back in there. They should be finding out who's doing it, and they should go put the dirt back in with them guys, you know, otherwise my guys go with that.
No, I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But we'll have to just say if they are getting a little too much there. It was one thing if they had stuff by the fence and they had a few things, but now they're getting a little too elaborate, you know.
Well, the first
Start digging in.
person that complained about it said they were going by there with heavy metal. All their equipment parked on the road, you couldn't even hardly get the road blocked practically while they were doing it.
Oh, really? Yeah, that, you're on the bottom of the hill, going down the hill, you're gonna get run over.
You see them out there quite a bit, I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
But I mean,
we should,
'Cause,
they weren't doing no digging.
no, when I go by there, it's like, oh, they did some more. I go by there, they did some more, I never get to catch them. I
and
never
we got
see
everybody
them.
else, I just thought she might be doing some of that stuff as well. I set it aside down last year when she.
What do you think, Dennis?
Yeah, I tell you, for future, I mean, like I said, mowing, or if a utility needs to come through there, or that's in the right of way, that needs to be
Yeah.
bare ground.
It probably made its way down.
Besides, I was thinking it was that other guy from Wilmot at first, but the money was going for it.
We issued a burn ban today too, by the way.
Oh, good, because I figured I was gonna call Jeff and say, did you put the burn ban on yet? 'Cause, you know, it's already burning out and wrapping already, you know.
It wouldn't hurt to call and let him know that it's effective today.
You did just do it this morning then?
Right.
Yeah, if he would call them,
I'll call Jeff and then he can,
everybody make one phone call.
yeah, get, Jeff will have to
If
call.
you would, yeah. If he calls also, they'll also call New Effingham call Wilmot.
Yeah, I'll have to call Jeff when I get done and he can try to get a hold of the other chiefs, I guess. Or do you guys put it out on the radio or anything? Or anything like that, or?
Did you buy that semi, Pat?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We got it back to the yard and everything, and we got the invoices yesterday, all we gotta do is do the
In here,
payment.
26,000 a year.
So everything's done, ready to go. We gotta put a radio and a light on it and do some work on it. Some little odds and ends with the ends and the hydraulic, you know, the ends and stuff.
Okay.
Just gotta do a little.
The invoice right here.
Yeah.
$338 a year.
First thing I got on the agenda was just, for, the quarter and for our transfer for the landfill and the jail. And the total was 2541 there. Just a transfer from landfill and jail to the highway. If we could get a motion to do that for the quarter.
Is there a motion to approve that by Carlson, second by McGill? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. And then, I have a right of way from Travers Electric and they've been putting poles up here on 127 and, you know, they're going down 34 and then be doing all those poles again for the utilities. But, Travers Electric has to bore on the County Road 1 over here that goes by 127, you know, by the gravel. There's two places they're gonna bore. So that's not a problem. But they are doing other utilities and they The other ones are waiting for the road limits to go off before they can do any more on the roads. But it's just, County Road 1, and there's 2 places I believe that, I already looked at on the map and stuff. It's just right out here by 127, so the motion just passed right away and send that out.
A motion to approve the boring trap by Zempel, is there a second?
Is the boring one?
The boring one, yeah, this is. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yep, I sure will. Thank you.
His place, what is the name?
This is the boring. The boring topic.
Okay, then, when I was out at our meeting, I talked about some bills and this and that and whatever, but there's another chunk of money that was out earlier for bridges, we do have the money that we're using on the big bridge now, on Eastern Road, but there's another pot of money that the legislation has. And I wasn't gonna put in for any more bridges because of our match, for next year, we got 2 bridges and the year after. But in 2 years, once we get our other, in our 5-year plan, we have 2 bridges after that. I have 2 bridges here that I wanna put in for, have you guys do a resolution. Because we're putting it in now as 18.5 match, but the legislation just passed here last week that they're gonna help us with our match. So now they're talking down to 6 to 7%. So I wanna put in for these 2 bridges, and then in a while from now, they're gonna let us know when that's gonna be effective. I think it's already, it's already been voted. So what it means is, instead of 18.5 match on these 2 now, we can go down to 6 or 7%, so now we're talking only 25,000 probably match, or $20-some thousand versus 50 on each one of these bridges I'm hoping, so then what I did is I had, Steve was out of town with Josh and Clark, got the resolution filled out for me, and the first bridge that I wanted to tell you was, it's 4 east and 1 north of Rossell, so technically straight north of 21 where you live, Tom, and then to the right, you go to the east. There's a bridge there that's really bad, that's been kind of a pain in the hinder because that brown wants to come across there all the time and whatnot. So that structure there, yeah, right off where he has the horses on the hill there, right there. That's been on the list and it's all on the poor list, but now that we have this other part of money, I wanted to put that in here. And the other bridge is straight north of town here, and it goes just straight north on Gravel Township, and it's been down to 10 ton for a long time, and that's another bad. These 2 sufficient ratings and the points that we'll score hopefully for the big score for this money is a really, really, really good chance that both of these will be no problem. So I want to put these 2 in. There's 2 resolutions for you and Don to sign. One is for each one of these bridges. On the top, I do have what it says for the points. And the resolution, it just gives an estimate of the engineering and kind of a cost of what it would be. But this is just all that material right now until you get, down the road. So
In ballpark numbers, what are you talking?
this was 100, the estimated engineering was 173,880. And our federal share, which is 81.95%, would be 142,494. And then local share, our share was 31,385, but that will be down considerably if this 6 or 7% goes through. And so that's why I'm putting it in for these 2.
Are
The other one,
both of those comparable in figures, both numbers?
the other one's a little higher, the one that's actually by Rossall, it's 189,303 for engineering, 155,000 for the federal share, and 34,169 for our street, but, you know, those
Engineering
numbers.
killed you. That engineering killed you.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an estimate that the engineers do to put the ground money in, and then we always get that fine tune later.
Have you ever heard anything from the tribe? I mean, we got that one
Yes.
started. What are we gonna do there? I mean,
They said
before
they had the money, but no, I didn't have time to call Cliff this morning, and I'm gonna follow up on that. He's saying we got the money, and that he's advertising in the Showdown paper. So, that's all I know right now, and I'm gonna call Cliff now today and see if I can get ahold of him and then follow up, because I'm pretty sure they got the money.
So that's something we could go this summer, you
So
think?
that would probably be bid that year, yes, and this spring, yeah, it would be bid that hopefully, and then it would be later this summer or late fall, depending on contractor.
Sure.
Because we got all the engineering done, we got all the, you know, all the designs done, everything's done, all the groundwork is.
Got all the road closed signs down there.
When, yeah, you might wanna look, yeah, when last night Ray Tech with them signed,
yeah.
by Feverville.
Yeah.
I just think we got these started, that's pretty something.
Get it done, yeah.
So with that, I need a resolution, to do these two resolutions.
Somebody want to make that motion? Okay. Motion by Vergil. Is there a second? Don? Any further discussion on the bridges? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
When you sign down here, and then the chairman on both. So there's one resolution here and then another one just like it. You and Don will sign.
Okay.
And then she can notarize it, and then she'll send it to Wade Dahl. And then we'll get copies back if we get, and then we'll get notice later, you know, if we do get the money, so.
Can you explain that?
Yeah.
We must be renting some piece of
This one, the
equipment.
crack sealer that we use for crack sealing, and we rent that every spring.
Okay.
I just took it back today, to Fargo, and we usually use it for a month or a little longer during crack seal.
And on this bill, what did you guys pay if I come get?
That was for a transmission for one of our pickups. And Tim did the work, so we got credit for the car, that's the end of the final. We do have some big bills from our blade up in Effington, the sensor that goes for the slope heater went out. And so we had to make 2 trips up there, we had one time, and then we had to order it. We came back and put the other one in after that, it was like that Monday before I left, or whatever, it's been like a week or 2 ago. And so then we got mileage, you know, and then that thing was like almost $1,000 for that sensor. See, there's 2 of them, one in the center and one on the driver's side. And that had gone out, so we got that bill in here today, Mario, and we got a couple of trips of that and filters in it, so.
Maybe we're gonna have to go back to the old style.
Yeah, we do have the ones with the bubble in there yet, you know?
Jeez.
So, yeah, so some of them bills are pretty big. And so like Don asked about the semi, we do have the semi, we're paying for that today with a voucher, we got all the paperwork done yesterday. And now we're waiting for, I think we already got the title going down, but we just need the license plates, yeah, we're waiting for them.
It's all been sent in.
It's all been sent in, so, and then we do have some more odds and ends, and we got to do onto it, so other than that. We're blading, Monday, let's see, Thursday or whatever, it was pretty wet, I guess, when they were trying to blade some stuff up the other day, but now it's been really good and dry out yesterday, that I can see everything. So, the wind blowing and everything, whatever. We're doing some signing, we're taking some flags up today right now. The Frost teams, we're leaving the ones on County Road 4 where we've got some gravel. But most of them are laying in the ditch again now, and they're, you know, some are up, some are down, and you know what, we'll go clean them up, get them out of the ditch, because, you know, they're steel rods that we use in the winter. So we gotta get those picked up again for the year. There might be some frosties out there yet that ain't marked, but I don't think it's a big deal, so. But we're doing that now.
Did you get any response back from South Dakota State DOT? I tell you
No.
what, I asked Pat to request that be marked. When you get 1 mile west of town, there is a heave there that it, I mean, I met a utility vehicle pulling a trailer that had ladders up on top of this enclosed trailer. And he come across that thing, all I could envision is one of them ladders coming right through my windshield. That thing is not marked, and it doesn't look like a heave until you're on top of it.
Stand up to go there?
It's just 1 mile west where the intersection. You would turn and go to the goose farm.
Oh, sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That
it's
is-
a sink there, and it's always a jump coming
That
down.
is really a bad one.
There's some funny
Yeah, there's a
spots on
lot.
the road this year where some of them got, let's say, a frosty, but some of them got just like this bottom fell out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet the pavement's not broken.
No, that's the way it is. And I'll try to call chasing it today, which I'm pretty sure I'll get a hold of them, and I'll try to get it back.
Somebody's gonna lose control of their vehicle coming across that thing.
So, yes, there was a bad accident out there yesterday, I had on a collision right on the state road.
Was there really?
Old lady that was like 61 years old, it had on at 7 miles an hour into a semi right by all day.
Jeez.
Oh, no.
As right off by Waubee on the state road, Highway 12 or whatever it is. what you call it.
Four lane.
Yeah, on the 4-lane.
Yesterday,
Like,
again.
just like this, and went all the way across for some reason, and went head on.
Oh,
Because I just had talked to Ben about it. He said their sheriff blew up the engine on his vehicle, so he had to use a pickup for the highway.
That's the second one.
But they had a lot of
Less
stuff
than a
going on
week.
out there, so.
She said Waubee, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, by Waubee.
That's the second one in less than a week then.
Was it? I think there was
Because the Watertown paper showed one yesterday.
Yep.
So, I mean, it couldn't, it happened
I
yesterday, it
think
could
there
have been in the
was-
paper already, so.
I think there was another one too that involved maybe some smoke.
But that lady hit that semi head on
Yeah.
last week one day.
Well, maybe it was last, no, I don't know, this was yesterday.
There was one yesterday.
It was yesterday.
So then that's changed.
Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, so I'll get a hold of Jeff really about that burn ban. I figured you guys didn't be doing it because I was gonna ask him yesterday about it. It was getting so dry that, you know, when we talked to the LAPC with Tim, and we say like either that or the chiefs would just go, or what did you guys decide, the chiefs were gonna do it or not?
And they're gonna rewrite the burn ban now, I mean, that's what you guys.
We're doing a new ordinance
Okay.
for burning, so, but that won't take effect, you know, for
And
months.
there's that new ordinance gonna be where the chiefs can go ahead and call in for you guys then and then get hold of it. That's what we had discussed.
Yeah, and if Jeff would just call one more, tell the next guy to pass so everybody gets called
Yep,
and
I will call him when we get done. And we'll get it done.
done over with.
Otherwise, that's all I have, I guess, today.
A couple of quick ones, you can hit it out.
Yep. Oh,
The interstate now, they're gonna start working on that here next week, I guess, right? From
I don't know the
Beaver.
starting date, but yes.
Yeah, I think it was like the 4th of April or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
from 1 mile, or from Beaver, I guess, to 15 miles.
Yep,
Everybody that comes from the east, semi-is, you know, they always avoid the interstate anyhow, but they're really gonna be jumping on the Lake Road and that road we did in front of Shaman's house. Can we get some help from someone to police that and make sure those guys are?
Highway Patrol will give me a text on Friday morning. When I got back to them out Friday morning, I went back to Doug on the bridge project, which I forgot I was talking. And then they texted me and they were on the Roberts County roads all Friday morning, all Friday for sure. Because I had talked to Ben and I said, somebody's gotta go to the Lake Road and get down here because they're just.
Yeah, I know, it just pounded the crap out of
And
it.
we went down there and fixed our
Yes,
house.
yeah, but I know it's gonna even worse, I mean, and I understand, I mean, it's, why not just
But
come up,
you need to raise-
Highway 10,
right on
jump on
top.
the interstate, the speed limit's a heck of a lot faster, but taking the Lake Road is what, 40 miles an
We'll be better
hour?
than Mark on.
And the other one, we slowed down to 45 in front of Shaman's there.
It's 40 miles an hour on
40?
Iron Road 8.
So I mean, it might be a mile or two farther, but it's gotta be a lot faster, I
And
think.
that Friday morning when I went to go meet Doug, I actually saw both of them in trucks from Minnesota. Back in one hour.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got stopped. I hope it was.
A couple weeks ago when I was going home, I took the lake road and they stopped
I'm not.
Yeah, I was going somewhere, looking at the acre.
Yeah.
And I went out with it, was the sheriff with motor patrol, and they met us semi, and they spun around, pulled.
There you go.
They're coming across, and it's like interstate down, and they had taken the lake road down, why, I don't know.
And I remember.
Change the scenery, I guess, they're
Well,
more driving the ethanol plant.
That road coming up, that, I don't know what that.
On the 19, you mean, on your dam road, you mean?
Yeah, that's busted up bad, the trucks just beat it.
See, I went there and then, like I say, I chewed a lot on last week before I left to my meeting and they said, yeah, I'm gonna try.
Some guys hauling out of Beardsley, there's the elevator. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
they're
see
all
them all
out
the
of
time.
Marion Bridge.
Five, six of them, they go to the ethanol
They
plant
go
in
that
Hankinson.
Hankinson or else
They're
around.
going south.
They're coming back.
They're crossing going south.
They always,
Coming back to the
they always
ethanol
come
plant,
back
doesn't he?
empty on 8.
No, these are coming across the interstate, they're taking the lake road down,
Yeah.
they're coming out to get down here.
Well, I guess I don't know, but I know all those guys from Beardsley, they
They
just
all-
set up sometimes on the lake road, sometimes
See,
around.
the last straw was the day I told you when we were plowing snow and come down the hill and they were way back stop sign and went on County Road 2 there and went by there and they went across that little bridge. That was,
Okay.
so.
Well, I guess when they start doing that road, if we could get some help
Well-
with Highway Patrol right away, I think it'd send a message to the
Yeah,
guys. that-
usually too, we do a haul road, but I don't know if there's no detour see for that, like you say, so that's a free for all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not coming out County Road
Yeah.
for any haul road agreement, because they're
Yeah.
not coming out with any gravel on any road.
Right.
So,
And then that Jim Creek Bridge, will that be let for bids yet this year?
yep, that's
So-
already let and we're gonna be doing construction next year.
Oh, next year, okay, all right. All right.
Construction is gonna be next year.
All right.
That old bridge right on 21 right at the south end. is
Yep,
that-
I'm gonna take that out and put culverts in there, with the other money that we have, that's on the list.
Kind of looking pretty tough.
If that's one of our summer projects or whenever we get to it, that's one of the 5 graders I'm doing with this other money.
Okay.
So that's gonna be going out of culverts.
Yeah, that would be.
And then, I'm sorry.
Yep,
Well, and then the Eastman Road Bridge, you said they could pour concrete after April 1st, so they're probably pretty close, huh?
we are going to be pouring on Thursday. Tomorrow we're having a meeting in the afternoon at 2 o'clock for a pre-con meeting for the concrete. We're all ready to pour.
But people ask me all the time, so you think that bridge will be open by middle of May, or?
Depends on how much of the groundwork they do for cleanup and what they have left to do on top. But that has to cure and they have to treat it and then they have the railing, they have to do so. I don't know how long it'll.
Maybe end of May would be more safe? I
Well,
guess?
end of May for sure, you know, for sure it's gonna be that long.
Yeah, just ballpark, people are always bugging me.
So we are gonna be having a meeting tomorrow, pre-con meeting versus just for the concrete. And what really talks to me is, when I talked to Doug, the other day, I wanted them hopefully to come in off Highway 10, of course, the shortest route, now they're saying they can't do it. Coming in the other way because of the way they gotta pour it. They have pumper truck pouring, you know, but they wanna have, 50 yards an hour they gotta keep going, so to keep that pour going. And it's gonna be about 8 hours.
What's a truck, about 10 yards, 9 yards, 10?
10 yards, and they're wondering about it, and then I checked the road, and I was like, they're gonna beat the piss out of that road.
That's a pretty
I don't know
decent
what's
road,
gonna
yeah.
happen, But I can't say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the reason that they can't come from the east?
Because they're
They're
starting on the other side, and when you pour, if you have stuff slopping for any reason, you can't have it, you gotta be covering that as you go. So they decided, Doug said already they were gonna pour starting from the east and go west. So the pumper truck's gonna be set up on the west side.
Yeah.
The trucks will come in and they'll start on the east and they'll pour towards the west. And anything that falls, right, then they gotta cover, and they gotta continuous pour that. So
How many yards are they talking here this year?
it's close to 300, it's under 300 yards. It's a lot.
That's quite a few loads.
Oh, yeah. It's, you know, so
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
loads, yeah.
there's some-
Can they come lighter than they normally would?
I can
or-
tell them to go 9 yards, but it really ain't gonna make a hell of a lot of
Yeah,
difference.
okay.
Then they got more trips.
And they got more trips,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna,
6
well,
and a half,
Doug, we're gonna
yeah.
charge you more because we only can put 9
Yeah.
yards. Yeah, it's kind of that. I I looked at it yesterday, and there's gonna be probably some damage. We're gonna have to go back if there's damage, we're gonna have to patch it, but that's the way it is. We're already gonna do patching on there before the chip seal, and we gotta do both sides of the bridge, you know, so.
Are they gonna use Highway 10 until they get to the landfill road?
Yeah, they'll Highway 10 and when they have them go down the landfill road and then come back and then go straight over, so.
Why don't you send them down
Is
that?
that right?
Yeah.
Once.
On the township road, I was really tempted, but.
I don't think they would.
Up and one of them will land in the crane down there.
I knew a guy, he had been driving semi very long, he got up the top of that hill and he lost a drive shaft. Had to back all the way down that hill, and just sit in the bottom, we get a tractor and pull him off the road, but yeah, he was scared shitless,
Yeah.
backing down that hill.
I'll tell you what. When, we had an episode, we were unloading something, I don't know, but, what was it? I think it was the door. But, we hauled gravel out of there, you know, behind there for years ago. And we went up and down that, and I tell you what, them hills are back.
I don't even like to drive that, when you come over the top, you're not sure there's
Yeah.
anything down
Especially
there,
if
just
it's,
kinda like,
especially if it's wet.
yeah.
It's not good.
It's people travel for a minimum maintenance road, I mean, now there's a lot of beer drinkers down there.
Yeah, they're just everywhere. So, that's all I have today, I guess. I'll get ahold of Jeff and I'll get it done.
Dean, we've got these other bridge projects in the hopper. Maybe you want to tell this contractor while he's in the area to take a peek at it.
Doug already knows if we get a bid letting, you know, if you bid, see, they're doing the bridge right off of my Highway 15 now.
Uh-huh.
The state is, right west of Loma. That's starting this spring. So that's another deal. And these guys swinging, or you got the subcontractor, take the crane down and put the coal in.
Okay.
Or I think it's precast or something going in there, I'm not sure, but that bridge is going out.
Do they do smaller stuff like what we got going on with that Peaver issue?
Well,
Do they do smaller stuff like that? too?
Well, they do, they would bid on, but I think they got this job now, and I don't know what else they were in Sioux Falls working too back and forth, so when they're big, they're doing a lot of job there.
Yeah.
But they'll have a chance to bid on it, of course, when we do bid that in, so that's up to
Yeah.
them.
One of those things, that $30,000 we got for that special bridge money here a year or so ago, are we using all that up so we don't?
Yeah, we're using the
projects?
20% now on the bridge match for this.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
I said the 5 bridges are going,
Yeah.
and yes, that's bridges and now.
Do we have about 3 years to use that up or something like that, or?
2022.
2022, okay.
What he
All right.
told me, I believe, and I asked Cody, it's 2022, and what we do is, we're hoping to get 5 bridges done, the culverts, plus whatever we got in the middle, so. We gotta have to wait until we get this bridge project done, and then we'll see what the balance
What's
is.
left here? Okay.
I think there's gonna be close to 300,000 there, so. But, yeah, that's what we're doing. And hopefully you don't bring up anything with this new bill, 1259. This is a mess. You probably heard about it with the townships. The legislators are voting, there's $6 million that is going into another decided bill. And what it is money that's supposed to be allocated to the county eventually. And then all the townships have to do their inventory of the culverts and bridges from 4.5 feet or 60 square feet up to a break. You guys, the townships do their inventory, and then we have the inventory down. Then if we get the money at the county, we have to do either engineering, or we have to go out and do the groundwork for their inventory. Whether that means we gotta spend money on engineering, like Clark to go and help us assess every township. The state wants to know everything that every township has that is inventory, so that they can use this money to replace smaller bridges and smaller culverts.
They haven't set out notifications or anything like that. I think I've seen it.
The governor just signed it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so this will be coming to you. And we got it
I'll have to get a raise.
yesterday from our association. The governor signed it yesterday, and it involves a lot of different groundwork, so for the town. basically in a nutshell, we're gonna get the money. And you guys will decide if I go out and want, like, you know, we just went through this down here with Minder. He wanted to get this money, he's wondering, well, then is the other township gonna get money? Well, now, with the cart in front of the horse, you might say, now, yeah, here it is, now we got money that will be available later, that you guys can say, yeah, Pat, we'll look at it. Is this gonna be something we can do? And then we go out and, you know, and you'll allocate the money and we can make it do it. But first, they have to have all the inventory done, they have to be all set there. Which you guys already did some of that, see, back 2-3 years ago. Especially when we did the signing, we had some of that.
But isn't that township already calling for something? It was in the Wilmot paper, I think.
They're calling for bids, they were.
They're gonna do it on their own now, because, you know, they did come to us, and we say, no, and then now they're gonna do it on their own, so I got no.
Well, they had a lot of money in the bank, and then they had that SB1 they put in play too, so.
So they're doing it on their own, and they're calling for bids, they're gonna do it, but the thing with it is, you know, later on, this is in effect later, they're gonna be looking for more money, but we'll just have to tell them, oh, hey, you know, this bill came later,
Yeah, it's,
so we can't do nothing about it.
In order for them to be eligible, though, don't they have to either do an opt-out or implement the
Yes,
SB1?
yes, they have to do an opt-out, or they have to raise the levy, certain amount, is what it was.
It's more the Senate Bill 1, I think, that the townships are required to do
before they get any assistance.
before they get assistance.
Yep.
The Senate Bill 1, it's up to 50 cents per thousand.
I think they said something, I only read it briefly yesterday, but we did talk about it at our meeting. So they're putting it on the superintendents, you know, because all this was done a while ago, but it's inaccurate. So that's why they want to do all this over with the townships again.
Is that-
Basically, the township should be doing it.
Does that take effect July 1st then?
Yeah, yes, I believe it was July 1st.
There's no emergency
Oh.
thing in it?
This says, before August 1st, 2021, the Department of Revenue shall distribute the sum of $3 million, because they're only gonna do $3 million first, and then they're gonna bring out $3 million later. So it says on August 1st, and then $3 million on pro rata basis to each county for the purpose of planning and completing an inventory of small structures as prescribed by the Department of Transportation. Before August 1st, 2022, the Department of Revenue shall distribute portions of the sum of $3 million to each county based on allocation calculated in accordance with the section for the purpose described. Each county's allocated percentage is calculated by using the total number of small structures on the township roads and county secondary roads located in the county, divided by the sum of all small structures on township roads and county secondary roads in the state as reported to the Department of Transportation, multiplied by 100. Each county that receives funds from the Rural Access Infrastructure Program shall use the funds in accordance with the provisions of the act. So that's basically it.
We took the 3 million divided by the 66 counties evenly, which it wouldn't be divided that way, but $45,000, you gotta divide that up by how many townships, it's
So-
not gonna be a lot of money.
And so, yeah, so basically, when you have to go do the inventory, and do what that.
I suspect some counties won't hardly have any bridges.
Yeah, I suppose not, yeah.
So,
The townships have to do the inventory.
They're supposed to,
How
yes,
many
no.
townships are going to do that?
And see,
Probably a lot of old.
if they're not doing some of this, then that's why they're allocating $3 million, that maybe we gotta hire a consultant to go help do these things. Some of them are spending $10,000, up to $10,000 to do these inventories, and they could use up $9 million, just like that. Because we were talking about this at our meeting, when the state people, Doug and Tam, you know, brought it up, they're putting it on our shoulders that we gotta go help these guys get these inventories done and get them better than what they are now, you know, because they're not right, they're not accurate. And with this one, you can do the first $3 million, you can go out and do that, get that done, and then they're gonna spend $3 more million to go and start replacing the culverts or whatever bridge structures may be. So that $6 million has already been voted on. So technically, this will be coming our way. But that all has to be ironed out with the townships. They'll make this make first. And it's gonna be your decision whether they get this or get that, on which township will get what. In the end. And we might be able to use one for our own bridge too, but.
Yeah, the bridge inventory that Clark has done for us, where they've graded them from green, yellow,
Oh,
red,
yeah.
that's not sufficient?
All of ours are. We're not talking about the county, we're talking about.
But they've inspected township bridges too, right?
No,
None of the township bridges get
if they're
inspected.
under 20
Only,
foot.
only by request is the only time any townships would get their bridge
Okay.
inspected.
Okay,
Because anything under 16 square feet or under 20 feet in length,
yeah,
we don't do by statute.
yeah,
So that's why the county is every 2 years have to have theirs inspected.
yeah.
But the townships don't, and that's why when we were talking about it with LTAP, with house, any day goes by, you know when your bridges could fall. Anytime, none of them have been inspected, none of them, you're supposed to inspect.
And we say around your meetings that all the supervisors are responsible for inspecting the bridges, but even if we looked at it, we wouldn't know what the hell we're looking at.
That's right, so technically, you're in the dark until you have.
Until it falls apart.
Or, yeah, and that's what we're talking about, maybe the state finally got smart enough to say, well, we need to get some more of these secondary roads, township roads, you know, done.
Well, you're right, but a lot of people won't do it, so I suppose maybe there'll be a lot more money available to those that do.
Well, technically, if they don't do the groundwork, they shouldn't get any money.
Oh, sure.
But the whole deal is,
Yeah.
they're trying to say we're gonna have to make it all and get all done with this money, so that everybody gets it done. So it's so much stuff right now, I don't even know where we're.
But it's got, the money's gotta be sent out by August 1st, you said.
Yeah, it said August 1st, so this is gonna happen fast. But
Yes.
Okay, but Don is making copies, and maybe you guys can read it over too, but the thing is that's gonna be in a separate line item for funds. Again, it'd be another line item that money can only use for whatever.
More line item, yay!
I know, Don's really up for that.
Excited.
Because it says, you know, infrastructure program funds, and so it's just a whole nother bunch of money.
What's up on here for a year, reading pleasure?
I don't know why they just don't make it a little simpler.
I do, because it's federal, our state.
Yeah. But, in the long story short, hopefully if it gets ironed out, we'll get the money and pass it on to the. And now that's anything over 4.5 feet diameter culvert.
Well, it's gotta be over 4.5 feet.
4.5, anything over 4.5 foot culvert up to a bridge, that's what we're talking about. So anything small.
Can't get a 12-inch culvert replacement. Okay, that's about all I got.
Yeah, no, only 4.5 foot.
Yeah,
On the
okay.
way up, 60 square feet or up to a bridge.
All right.
All right, picking up your time, thank you.
Thank you.
Holy smokes, 10:30.
Hungry?
I'm here early.
To see what that 11 o'clock one brings.
Thank you.
Yep, see that.
See ya.
Morning. Morning. Talk to you about something.
Okay, I'll give you a call. Yep. I came right up, so I made copies when I got here.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you're picking up all the time.
Yep, we're up to 63.
Oh, my.
We were at 65 yesterday. And I'll explain kind of why that.
Hopefully there's more renters
There's
there.
a little bit more of a jump.
Don't look like it
No,
though.
22 hours there.
And then go down, there's 13 more.
Yeah. 35.
Part of the reason for the big jump is this past Friday, we did a saturation day using some of our highway safety hours. All five of us were out. It gave me a chance to kind of do some training with some of the guys as far as what I'm looking for and kind of how I want to do some certain things, and just a chance for them to have somebody in the car with them again, reteaching them some things. So we did a little bit of that. The other reason for it last Friday was the central canine unit was up in our area as well. So Trooper Miller from Webster, as well as another trooper that came from the Mitchell area, and then Sergeant Lord, who is the head of the canine unit in the central, what they call the central area. He's out of Mitchell as well. We were out from about 2 o'clock to 7 p.m. In that time, we made seven arrests, 4 for felony controlled substances, and throughout the course of the day, took about 30 grams of meth off the street.
Really? Were you down on 15?
Yep.
I come
We
up
were
with
all
7,
over.
I met 4.
And then you turned off that side road and went around the block.
Don't come now.
We were all over the place. We were at every corner of the county that day. We were all over the place. We had one pursuit that ended in a DUI. It was a short pursuit and everything, but it ended in an alcohol-related DUI. 30 grams of meth. Just to give you an idea, 5 grams is about the equivalent of like a sugar cube. A sugar cube is about 5 grams, so that gives you an idea.
How many people get high off that? 30?
A lot. That's between about
What is that worth? then?
between about $1,800 and $3,700. So
How many different incidences were that on?
4.
4 for 30 grams. Wow.
One of the traffic stops, we believe, was probably an instance where the individual may have just picked up his dealer who he was going to be purchasing from, and it was about a mile from your driveway.
Was that right?
Yeah. So,
Head south?
yep.
Wow.
Yep, it's everywhere.
I sell right out of my shed. I don't go down the road at all.
So, but that's part of the reason for the big increase. The Sergeant Lord with the Highway Patrol was incredibly impressed by the job that everybody did. We had kind of moved some things around in the jail to make room for this happening, and we did the same with dispatch. They were prepared for this to all happen, and it went amazingly well. And so the Highway Patrol was incredibly impressed. They said they never had a sheriff's office get so on board with something like that and then actually go out and they were chasing us around trying to come to our traffic stops instead of deputies trying to go and
Were you just pulling everybody over or just saw
So
signs of
it
maybe
was-
pull one guy over
it was-
versus another?
we were doing part of our that highway safety grant is speed and seatbelts.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of the initial thing that we were out looking for was speed. And, you know, the guys are out enough, they're smart, they know what they're looking for. So the fact that they had canines up in our area, they were also looking for vehicles that they thought might be drug related as well, so.
Yeah, good. Sweet.
So it worked out really well. The only other thing I really have, 2 things. I mentioned the lightning rod last week. I talked to Janessa about it. She had 2 headsets that had already been ordered as part of a previous ordering stuff for radios. And because of COVID and people not wanting to share headsets and things like that, she sent those back, and that's gonna pay for the lightning rod. So nothing really, no expense there. And then the only other thing is Janessa did mention that she had a dispatcher that was in training that did make the decision to not continue any longer and terminated at the point. Hours he felt were just too tough. didn't think they were good for his health, and he ultimately made the decision not to continue. So we are now, she is now looking for they'll be looking for another dispatcher.
That was in-house training then, not somebody that we sent to Pier?
Nope, that was somebody that was still going through the in-house portion. So it's, you know, yeah, it is great to, you never want to lose somebody, and they were doing well. It just wasn't gonna, the lifestyle wasn't gonna be conducive to that, and they.
The training they do at state, that's a 6-week program
For the.
dispatchers?
Yes, I think it's 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
They have some things that they have to accomplish in the time that they're there, and then they can spend some time out on their own, and then they go to that dispatch training.
Has it been decided, are we going to build a city quarterly now on the dispatch fee, or what?
I think we do it monthly until we,
Been doing
But I
monthly?
then we're gonna go back to the,
I believe they're gonna, I think they're gonna evaluate it at this coming,
Council?
On their April meeting, isn't it?
yes.
and that would be the 3-year contract again, which will be done in the past, yeah.
Any more talk that you hear of on a regional jail, or any
I haven't heard-
additional tours on our part or whatever?
I haven't heard anything about any regional jails. The only thing that we have coming up is I did get an email yesterday about the state coming to tour our facility as far as the juvenile, make sure that we're keeping up with the juvenile side of everything. So we have that on the 16th of April.
I see.
So
Okay.
we do have a couple juveniles out there right now, one for the SWO and then one of ours.
Anything more from the tribe about building out there? Or?
I haven't.
I haven't either, from probably 2-3 months ago after the last time.
I know they, I heard about it after the fact, but they had a meeting with, you know, some of the monies that they did have coming in, and they kind of were putting together a wish list of things, and I don't know if that made it on there or not.
Well, the jail's done a wonderful job in keeping that place COVID-free, and with all these extra inmates and stuff, are you able to quarantine as they come in, or how are you?
That's, you know, we're doing the best we can. It's hard to maybe quarantine them as long as what would be ideal, but they are doing, you know, increased level of checks compared to, I know, what used to be done in the past. Before they come in through the garages, temperature is taken. You know, they're asking questions regarding, you know, any symptoms and things like that. So that is happening, and if that somebody does say that they've been in close contact or is having any kind of symptoms, we do call them individually for a period of time until the jail nurse can either, you know, get them scheduled for a test or get them tested in some way. I know she works well with IHS as well, so if it's somebody that's IHS eligible, we'll set up a time out there and we'll get them out there to do their COVID test.
Would our nurse be eligible to administer a rapid test, do you think, at some time?
I don't know much about the rapid, I don't know enough about the rapid test, but my guess would be that yes. I know that at one time James was trying to get rapid tests. I know the state had kind of put out that it was something that they, you know, may be having available, and I don't know whatever happened with that.
It seems like product is a little more available. The one I had was at the nursing home, and it was the swab. Stuck it in the deal, she said, okay, sit down. 15 minutes later, there's your results, so might be worth looking into.
Yeah. I will bring it up, and I'll talk with both of them about it today.
How are the new vehicles done?
New vehicles are doing well. We had put a new pair of tires on the one patrol car, but that was about the extent of it. We were able to kind of use the equipment that we have and get that vehicle up and running, and it's been doing well, so.
So it was brought back from having all that stuff put on it, or?
No. They had ordered one of the wrong pieces, and so it was on like a 2-week back order. So it'll be about 2 weeks, and then all the new vehicles will be on the road. That's all I have.
I just have a complaint from a resident.
Okay.
Pulled over by a deputy for not doing his deputies. And the deputy came out of the rack of the window and wasn't wearing a mask. So, I don't know if you have a policy regarding that, but
Well, we don't necessarily have a policy regarding it. I've talked to them about wearing masks on traffic stops. You know, it can sometimes be one of those things where, you know, when you're driving around in your car and all of a sudden something happens in front of you and you know, you're worried about a lot of things, and, you know, sometimes,
not very big. I don't mind it.
yeah, I will bring it up. All right.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take a quick break before we deep dive into our 11 o'clock issue. All right. You can't wait for 11 to get here, huh?
As what I understand, this is not a hearing, this is just a second reading, so there's no testimony.
I bet it won't end up that way, though.
No, I'm,
Testimony whether we want it or not. I think we can just shut it down. I mean, I just don't know reason to let it ramble on.
I just don't, he just doesn't seem to understand that.
No.
The issues he has that we don't pertain to what we're dealing with.
Right. I mean, to me, it's between him and these agencies he claims to be working with and/or the owner of the property that has created the problem.
Concerns are about a specific piece of property, and these ordinances don't deal with specific pieces, they deal with regulations for counties.
Right.
So, you know, it would become the point of approving a building permit, I can understand.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, one ordinance does pertain to a specific,
Ordinance 26 does.
to that, you know,
Yeah, but it doesn't permit him to do any construction.
No.
no, just changing from A to.
Right.
Yeah.
But
They're
does
not-
this change his,
No.
it changes it in the county? Because, you know, recently passed ordinance, highway storage mostly was not permitted use.
Right.
And so that's what it's doing, it's making that a permitted use all throughout the county, not that specific.
Right. But his only issue was with that
That specific.
particular piece of
Now that
property with that
goes
building on there.
for that specific piece.
Yeah, he just-
Then it's consideration.
Yeah, you just can't tear him away from that. You just, and I feel sorry for the guy. I mean, I drove by it yesterday, I kind of slowed right down. I think I know which house this is, and I can sort of see the buildings that are there, but if he has an issue, it's not an issue for us to take up. And he just doesn't seem to grasp that.
Well, I don't think we can deny everyone in the county from building a storage building because of this one specific property that's violating some environmental law.
Right, yeah. I agree. say you spoke with Danny there about not being involved in this Chuck, eh?
Well, there's no stuff this morning that, he's asked some questions and she really doesn't want to be involved, but she just wants to listen, she doesn't want to contribute anything. It's not cognitive.
Yeah, but I mean, we should be able to tell her that she doesn't need to be in here. She's not responsible for providing a witness for him. He can turn his phone on and record it if he wants, but I don't think he should be
She would
disrupting.
prefer not to be.
Well, I'm sure she would. Yeah, she looked a little uncomfortable the first day she sat here, so.
Yeah.
You not doing some yard work and such, or? No?
This weather, it's like, it's a nice one day and next
Yeah.
day, it's
I
like.
think once you get past, well, even tomorrow's fairly nice, in Thursday on out, it's like 70s and then it drops down to mid-80s, I mean, it's mid-60s. That's perfect weather for me, I guess. I told you, I got a handful of projects I want to get done, but I just want to get it done early on, and I just want to put them off the rest of the summer, I don't want to be getting work. Take the secret patch over to the farm to get that gravel road, then go. Yeah, Hennessy is a mile up the road from us. Where it's coming from.
Who lives south of you?
Well, you got Nielsen's on the opposite side of the road, Kent, and then beyond that, I suppose you run into that little road that jogs off. You got Fernman's went back in there and Lloyd Hansen, and then you go farther down, Scotty Hansen. That's it.
Oh, Scotty, and then,
Ricky Herman.
no, the other one, the old guy. You just said his
Oh,
name.
Lloyd Hansen.
Floyd.
That's the parents to Lisa downstairs that works for Sherry's office. Lloyd
Really?
Rose, yeah, Lloyd Rose Hansen, yeah. And Louis lived down that road at one point in time, but now,
Yeah, east of him, that, she was a Hanson?
yeah,
Lisa was.
yeah.
Better be careful what I say.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Lisa was a Hanson.
Yeah, the two kids, I think, one Eric lives, well, he lives down by On Lake, down there, like Travis, where he works at the grocery store in the deli department there, I think.
How come we can't get something though from the state when they detour everything around and that?
Yeah, it's just, you know what's gonna happen.
I mean, out there, they get paid for any time you drive on their road, you know?
Yeah. I get it. Because they can, I guess, that's why they don't give us any money, because they don't have to.
I mean, okay, I'm coming down the interstate. Yeah, I've got all the access to 130,000 pounds. I mean, I'm legal on the interstate.
Yeah.
But you know what that does on our lake road?
Oh, God.
See, and I suppose they come up here down there, and they're building all the houses now.
Yeah.
But nobody showed no mercy. I just ripped the hell out of that township road. Kept road, you know, and they asked for some gravel, and I said, I think we can work with you on some gravel, the township, you know. They got 120,000. No, the tip, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah. We kind of gave up on that too. They were trying to repair that thing, and we talked about it, and it kind of just disappeared.
Yeah.
I saw one of the brothers on TV, the superintendent of school down from T or wherever it is, or something like that.
I said, we ain't gonna get crazy, but we'll dump some gravel. I mean, you guys send ask for it. You don't have to ask for it, but I said, I'm not resting, but I said, I think we can dump a few loads.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. Boy, the roads, gravel roads are really.
I mean, it's gotta get from A to B, so I mean,
Right.
they are right in hell with the road now. And I don't blame the car dealer, it's nobody's fault.
That's what you just like, you know, feel guilty going, so
I know. We were sitting at Franti's and there's this guy. I'm looking at him and I thought, he works for Comstock. And then I remembered he wasn't involved in jail, but he was the one that was involved with the war. He was kind of one of the head That guy was like, oh, that's who that guy is.
Well, the engineer from Comstock?
Yeah, there was like 3 of them that used to come, you know?
Yeah, I figured the one guy, the main guy,
Yeah.
he was married to a gal that lived in Sisseton in here, that works over at City Hall. She just got married.
Okay, no, that was the engineer. This was the
Yeah.
guy that actually works for Comstock.
Oh, actually did construction?
One of the workers.
Never write the
Well, somebody had a question on that,
On what?
on that. Veterans thing.
Oh, it was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I guess
That was
I,
Friday night.
Yeah. Angie is on the ball. She said that she believes that everybody in the county that would be eligible is getting the benefit. So,
Benefit of, what benefit is that?
oh, this property tax exemption.
Oh,
for
okay.
Disabled vet.
So there was somebody that questioned it should be eligible.
Well, you know, when they read the minutes of the meeting where we did the abatement, $1,800, it raised the question, like, what's going on there?
Oh,
So this is really what I needed to get back to this person about how a person qualifies for that and what exactly happened, that they got refunded back, the $1,800.
Good morning. I'm going to call in. We are having a conference call at 11. I sent an email out to Todd and to Mr. Tolowski to call in to our conference number. And that way one person didn't have to be on a cell phone and the other person had to be online.
She's coming in.
Huh?
Angie's coming in too.
Yeah.
She's gonna sit in.
Do I have to get online to get on?
We're about 5 minutes early here.
We're sorry. It is not necessary to dial
sure.
1 or 0.
She got a fax number there.
Will you please hang up and try your call again? Sorry.
That's right, we're local. Those guys aren't.
Welcome to Enter Communications Conference Service.
Thank you, sir.
Please enter your conference identification number.
IOUs?
Visitor has not yet arrived. Who are the administrator? Please enter your administrative access code now. The conference administrator has joined the conference. There are 1 attendee on the conference call.
That would be us.
Oh, that's okay.
Is Angie, did you ask Angie to come in?
Chuck is requesting her attendance.
Yes.
I don't quite understand the reason for it.
She's coming at
Due to the
11.
fact that he's a veteran and she just is going to sit in here, just really nothing, she says, really, just to
Observe. She doesn't plan on having any input.
Well, this is not here.
Veteran issue.
No, that's true. But it's-
And then,
Open meeting.
Mr. Scott here is,
What's that true? Okay, now.
Scott is here.
Has anyone signed up for our GIS stuff yet?
No, we are still in the process of sending out all of the information, and we have to, I'm waiting for county boards to get done so we can get all the new, the most current stuff up there and out.
Okay.
And then Darren is going to open it up to the public. And then at that time, they'll be able to do everything that's out there, even with the paid subscription stuff. And then as of the July 1, then if they wish to step on, then they can. Otherwise, the whole thing will be closed except for what that.
And then you said one question, I see you guys were signed up to the South Dakota Association of Assessing Officers. Is there a reason for Kim to be on that as well, or?
No, that's just,
All right, just wanted to ask before we snapped it off, yeah.
Good morning, this is Sherry. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Todd.
Good morning, Todd.
Good morning.
Ready to have some fun?
God, darn wind, we can't do anything.
It might get windy here today too.
Blanket up in the, or a bag up in the fridge.
Yeah, on our county board, you know, when that's gonna be, or how long or anything.
They start on the 13th,
April 13th.
April 13th, and they last through May 4th. And I think we have maybe 14 people appealing.
Hey Todd, a question for you, maybe it's too premature to ask, premature to ask, but I know that there was gonna be some money allocated from this last, some of the other guys here.
Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, is this Charles on the phone?
Well, back to my question then, Todd, I mean, with this last stimulus bill, they talked about, what, I thought $350 billion being sent out to states and counties. Is there any idea what South Dakota might be getting, or?
Yeah, hang on just a second.
Hey, Charles, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am, Charles Kowalski.
All right, thank you. We have Charles and Todd from First District on the line. In the commissioner room, we have Chairman Dennis Jensen. We have Don Carlson, Trey Johnston, Tom Verdell, Tim Zimpel, Don Sattler, Angie from the Veteran Service Officer, Scott Neal, and we have Jason Deitch from Sisseton Courier live streaming. We have Kim from zoning and myself, Sherry Denver. That is everybody who is here present. So, Chairman, you can.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Todd, do you want to take control?
Well, basically, this thing as a parliamentarian, just to bring everyone up to speed where you're at. There's been previous public hearing on the proposed ordinance to rezone some property from agricultural to the commercial district. There was a first reading already held on that. The county wanted to make sure that everybody had total due process, and so today you're having another public hearing to take in any questions or comments on the proposed application to rezone the said property to commercial. At which time only is not blessing any specific use. Because any other use that comes in will have to come back to the board under a conditional use permit. This is just to bless the property to be conditioned to be commercial, which would then allow for other commercial uses to be located on that property at some point in time in the future. So procedure would be to open the public hearing and then offer the proponents and then opponents opportunities to testify for or against the proposed rezoning. If you want to place a time limit on discussion, you're more than welcome to do that as the chair. Once the public hearing has been held, the board will close the public hearing, and you as the board have the opportunity either to table the decision to enact the ordinance amendment, to either approve it or deny it. and then that would be the second reading. And then if approved, the ordinance would have to be published in the newspaper, and then 20 days after that publication, the ordinance would go into effect. Is that understood?
Yes.
Everybody's nodding their head, Todd, yes?
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with what you're saying. So, Mr. Chair, you have I guess it'd be your call to open the public hearing on the proposed ordinance. I don't have the number in front of me of what the ordinance number is, and then to start with proponent testimony.
26 and 27, we're combining them?
Well, let's do 26 first.
26 first? All right. All right. Well, the board would be willing to listen to proponents of the change in ordinance. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to testify?
That would be
Can you identify yourself?
Scott Meter. I represent the owners of Big Stone Lake Storage. And what we're trying to do is unify all the property we have there under one usage, I guess. Part of it already has a storage unit, self-storage unit business on it. We would like to, if we someday get bigger, use it all. I don't see that happening, but you never know. We're here making changes anyway, let's do it all at one time. Part of the problem is when the zoning ordinances got changed, self-storage got taken out of the highway use, commercial use, I believe.
I can't hear him.
I'm sorry?
Pardon me?
He can hear.
I said I can't hear what you're saying.
Is that mic on right there?
Well, that's just,
Yeah, here through the speaker.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Just
okay.
hold your mask on.
Okay, we're bringing him a little bit closer then.
So what we're trying to do is make everything under one use, or one use. Highway commercial, I believe, is what we're at, is what we're trying to get done on all the property. As it sits, the back lot that we have is zoned, is actually zoned highway commercial. So since we own it all as one group, we're just gonna have it all one usage. Lump it all together. Part of that already exists as highway commercial, but when you change the ordinances last time, and change happens, it happens the way it is. Self-storage got omitted. And so we'd like to get that all lumped and done.
And that is what our second ordinance today
Right
reading
now,
is
we're
about.
just addressing ordinance number 26.
And that's going to be just the rezone here for highway commercial.
Right. So, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel or point fingers. We just want to make our storage business bigger someday.
Again, Mr. Chair, this is the parliamentarian.
Yes.
The request before you isn't so much is not for the storage units. The request before you is to rezone the property so the applicant can subsequently apply for a storage unit or any of the other uses allowed in the commercial zone. And that's what the county is looking at, is whether or not the property is appropriately zoned to accommodate commercial uses moving forward.
Okay. I think that's understood by the people in this room.
Oh, that's your spot.
The proponent used less than 5 minutes to explain his point. Are there opponents to the ordinance that can be explained in 5 minutes or less?
I think I can.
Okay, Mr. Telewski.
First thing, I brought this up the last two meetings. The first one was via phone, and then on the 16th I brought up the water issue. I brought up the problem where the current storage building is at the head of the creek of Telewski Creek. And the reason I bring it up, there seems to be no concern about the runoff, but tomorrow the state Department of Environmental and Natural Resources is coming out to inspect the excavation that's already been done in front of the storage building. And what I was told by the EPA, they're going to require the owners to return the head of the creek back to the proper resources and obtain a state permit that they're required to have. This is something I brought up, and it didn't seem to be of concern. They need a permit when you move anything above a waterhead, and this is according to the Department of Natural Resources order signed effective July 1st, 2018 by the governor. And my dad brought this same thing up in 2006 when the original storage building was put in, and the board decided to still allow the construction to go forward. Well, now the state's going to come out and ask that it be corrected. The state has already told me there is damage to my creek and my property, and they're going to, on my behalf, work with Mr. Nyhart to figure out how we're going to solve the problem. And I think before the board does anything in the zoning, they should table the motion until we get the report of the damages to my property and the other 28 properties that border Melowetsky Creek all the way to the lake. That's my request. I'm not saying let's kill it. I'm saying, hey, the same thing my dad said 22 years ago. Let's bring the environment people in and make sure it's safe for my property. If you like, I have the name of the individual that's meeting with Mr. Nyhart according to what I was told in my email.
Do you have any further comments, Chuck?
No, I'm asking that you table the motion, and that's the reason. Because there's already damage to the current homeowners downstream. And before we do any more damage, we stop and see what's going on and make sure that the proper forms, federal, state, and county, are issued before any construction is done. And it should have been done in 2004, and it wasn't.
But at this point in time, we're not discussing any construction, we're only discussing changing.
I understand that. I know we're talking about the zoning, but what I'm telling you is the Environmental Protection Agency is going to come out and make corrections to the property and is going to require them to fix what they've already changed. And I brought that up, and I know the board said they don't care about the creek or the lake.
I don't think it's that we don't care, it's not the topic of discussion today.
It's the zoning, and I'm telling you, I'm asking you to table it because there's going to be litigation involved with what's currently been done. And my understanding is he should have been informed by the county that he needed this permit.
Todd, can you give us some additional clarification of what you said earlier about this ordinance on how it would apply to a storage unit, whether it be on the close to the Summit area or close to the Rosselt area or any place in between in our county?
Basically, basically what's before the board today is whether or not this specific piece of ground should be zoned commercial. All that does is it lays the foundation for a subsequent request from the owners of the property to either put a storage building or any one of the other 15 or 20 uses that are allowed in the commercial district. The question of whether or not what's been happening on the adjoining property, while somewhat germane to commercial zoning, is not specific to this request. If the EPA or the South Dakota Department of Environment and Natural Resources is to stipulate that the owners of that property with the existing storage building are to do something, that is something based on that property. Now, if the board was to approve the commercial rezoning today, and somewhere down the road the applicant decides they want to do something on that property that's allowed by commercial uses, it'll have to come back before this board, at which time the board then could consider what's been going on that other property and establish conditions on whatever proposal the applicant would make at that point in time. And I find the comments of Mr. Politsky probably more germane to that question of whether I want something, to get the permit to do something. The question is before you is this rezoning consistent with what your comprehensive land use plan identifies as this area as being a transition area and allowing for commercial and other uses? And that's what you're needing to look at. Here's your foundation for the decision is this comport with our long-range plans for the county? And if you believe it does, then the appropriate action may be to rezone the property. But when it gets into specifically what can happen on that property after the rezoning, there will be subsequent public hearings regarding those requests.
Okay, thank you. Are we at a point, Todd, then to close testimony and,
I would call 2 more times if there's any other testimony.
all right,
The DNR coming out tomorrow, that's at my request. I called them. They called Chuck afterwards.
okay,
So,
okay. Did you catch that, Todd? The proponent made comment?
Yep.
Okay, okay. Are there any further comments from the proponent? Okay. Are there any further comments from the opponent, Mr. Telewinski?
No, it's just that, right now, it says before they're supposed to do any construction work, they have to have a pollution prevention plan in place. And I'm telling you and the board, they don't have one. So they're going to continue to do damages if you don't table this matter. And I'm just wondering...
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Todd?
Sorry to interrupt the opponent testimony, but today's hearing is not regarding any specific construction going on that property today.
Okay,
That will be a...
is it the same Article 9 of the lakefront property tax, zoning rule? Is that what it is then? Because
No,
I don't
it's not
understand what it is. Because I got it here saying...
Oh, one at a time, please. One at a time, please. Okay, Todd, go
I have
ahead.
the floor, but apparently I don't.
I was trying to understand your question again, sir, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm asking now, the zoning change you're planning, is that a change to Article 9 of the lakefront residential zoning rule? Are you now extending it past golf courses, country clubs, resources, grocery stores, and sporting goods like Article 9 was written many years ago? Is that really what we're doing here? Is we're changing the complete zoning?
Let me answer your question, sir. My understanding is that the property is currently zoned agricultural. Is that correct, Sherry?
Yes.
part of it.
The property is zoned agricultural, right?
Yes.
At least a portion of it.
Right, a portion of it.
All of it's zoned ag.
Yes, lot 3B is agricultural, lot B is highway commercial. Those are the two
All right, and-
parcels in
Okay, so the
question.
request before this board today is to take those two legal descriptions, one being ag, one being partially commercial, and changing it to a commercial designation. So what's before this board today is not about specific uses, it's about whether or not the zoning map should be changed to identify this property to be highway commercial or commercial district, of which that would lend any of the uses contained in the section of the ordinance that deals with the highway commercial district for an applicant to come in and apply for. But none of those uses are allowed by right, they all are related to a conditional use, so there will be a subsequent public hearing for whoever owns this property today or down the road to obtain a building permit for a specific use. So what you're talking about, the issue is right, yes, they are going to have to be compliant with any state or federal rules and regulations regarding pollution and runoff and those types of things from that property, but the county is not addressing any of that at this point in time because there is no permit in front of them to address that. All this is doing is if the property is not zoned commercial, then the applicant does not have the opportunity to even make the request to do his storage buildings. So the county is looking at amending the zoning map, not issuing any permits today to anybody.
Well, what I'm trying to bring up, they were supposed to have a permit before they excavated 3 acres above the creek head. And they already did that back in November before they even came into the zoning board to make changes. And that's why the state's coming out to correct what they've already done wrong.
And that's
what I'm trying to get across to the board.
Again, for my clarification.
Nothing to do with a permit. I'm saying the damage is already done, and the board is going to go ahead and allow them to do more. Fair enough, I understand now. I'll shut up.
No, quick point of clarification for myself, sir. So the excavation work that they've already started on, that is currently on one or both of these legal descriptions. Is that correct, Sherry?
It's on one, it's on lot B, the one that is already commercial.
It's not on either one of these, excuse me, it's not on either one of these lots that are asking for the rezoning?
Yes, it is. It's on lot B that is already highway commercial.
Why are we rezoning that one?
We're not rezoning that one.
We're not rezoning.
We just want to make sure that all of Mr. Nieder's and his partners are all on the same, all of the property is combined together as highway commercial. We are only going to be changing lot 3B.
Okay, so there is excavation work going on part of the property, but there's been no permits issued for anything regarding that excavation at this time from the county. Is that correct?
Yeah, the excavation.
Correct.
The excavation is on the lot that is already zoned commercial.
But have you been, no, Mr. Toloski, I'm acting as a parliamentarian, so I'm asking a question. So the individuals that have started the excavation work, you've done that absent a permit being issued to you by the county?
Yes, there is no permit required to remove trees.
So they've removed trees, but they haven't done actual excavation?
We scraped off some black dirt, put some gravel on.
So that's excavation. The answer is yes. So technically, sir, that is not in compliance with the ordinance of the excavation work, so you need to cease and desist that.
Okay.
And of which Mr. Tolowitzki is probably correct that, yes, you are going to need some permits from the state if you're disturbing more than 1 acre of ground.
And that's in question here. A couple of things in question here. One, we didn't buy the property till November. We didn't move any dirt or trees until after the 1st of January. So I don't know where his dates are coming from. Secondly, if it's over an acre, I'm gonna be amazed, but that's why we requested the DNR to come up to verify what we need to do.
Right. But according to county zoning regulations, there's no excavation of property without a permit if it's going to be done in expectation of a building being constructed. So, and what I'm trying to tell you is that, again, that's not specific to this zoning request, that's just more of a sidebar information for you. The zoning request still before the board today is whether or not it's appropriate to zone this property for commercial uses that will come with a subsequent permit later. And that's what's and whether or not this comports with the long-range plans for the county. And that's what's before the county today. If they say yes, and there's a subsequent change that will allow for commercial storage buildings to be allowed out there, the other zoning amendment, then there still will be a public hearing where Mr. Tolowitzki can come in and ask for the board to attach conditions to any subsequent CUP process. So, back to you, Mr. Chair. You can decide to close the public hearing if you're satisfied, and then the board can go back and have the option to table, approve, or deny the ordinance amendment.
Okay, I think everybody's had ample time to voice their opinion on the matter. The chair would entertain comments or action from the...
Mr. Chair, you need to close the public hearing first.
Didn't I do that? Okay.
No, you didn't say...
Did we do that by motion? Did we do that by motion?
No, you as the chair can just close the public hearing.
All right, I now declare public hearing closed.
now it's the discussion about the board.
The chair would entertain discussion and/or action from our commission.
I would just like to say that I understand Chuck's position. I sympathize with his situation, but that's not the purpose of our meeting today. The purpose of our meeting today is to make the determination whether we should change that land from agriculture to commercial. I see no reason not to. I would make a motion to do so.
There's a motion on the floor to approve ordinance number 26 as amended. Is there a second to Commissioner Carlson's motion? The motion's been seconded by Commissioner Tom Vergel. Is there further discussion from the board? Todd, would you recommend a voice vote or roll call vote on this?
Being that you've got participants online, I think it would be the appropriate thing to roll call the vote.
Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Don Carlson,
Aye.
Dave Johnston,
Aye.
Tom Vergel,
Aye.
Tim Zempel,
Aye.
Chairman Johnson.
Chairman votes aye. The motion
So,
carries.
Mr. Chair, the motion carries, and the county auditor will publish a notice of adoption in the newspaper, and the ordinance will become effective 20 days upon publication of that notice.
Okay, thank you. Are we ready to move on, Todd, to our next one?
Yes, you are now at the point of opening. You've had your first reading and public hearing on the previous ordinance 27, that's correct?
Yes.
And so there is no public hearing on the remainder of that rules and regulation regarding commercial storage units in the highway commercial zone and changes to regulations regarding accessory buildings in the lakefront district. And so basically you are at a point where you need to ask for a motion from the board, and then a motion would be to approve would be the proper motion, and then there would be discussion on that motion and then a vote on the motion.
All right, the chair would entertain action on ordinance number 27. You want to speak up?
Aye.
No. Motion by Commissioner Zempel to approve ordinance 27, is that correct? Okay. Is there a second to that? Second by Commissioner Johnston. Is there further discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will also go by roll call vote on ordinance number 27.
Don Carlson,
Aye.
Dave Johnston,
Aye.
Tom Vergel,
Aye.
Tim Zempel,
Aye.
Dennis Jensen.
Chairman votes aye. The motion is approved unanimously.
So, once again, upon publication of that ordinance in the newspaper, 20 days hence from those publications, then that section of the ordinance would be approved, and then subsequent applications could come in after the notice of that. And being that this is a textual change that applies to the entire county, Don, you need to publish it in all 3 pages.
Okay, I will.
Any other questions regarding the zoning thing that you've done today?
This is Dawn, ordinance
Yep.
26, is that only in the Wilmot Enterprise?
I think so, because that's in an area that's applicable to that section. Because
Okay.
That's the paper that's closest to that service area.
And we only put it in one, so, okay.
Yep. But being that this is textual and those changes would apply to the entire county.
Right.
And you have 3 official newspapers, I would recommend that you do it.
Will do.
Yeah, there was a question about, dollars.
Oh, just a minute, Todd. Sorry to interrupt you. Chuck, thank you for calling in. We really appreciate your input on this, and we'll be hearing from you at a later date, I assume. So, enjoy, happy Easter. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Todd, I think you're the only one on now, so.
Yeah, there was a question regarding the new American Investment Act. That was approved by Congress here, the American Rescue Plan. Now, we talked a little bit about this before, but, you know, statewide, the counties in South Dakota are receiving about $171.5 million. Roberts County allocated, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Never issued that before.
Are you there, Todd?
Did you want, yeah, I'm still there. Did you want me to stop hiring somebody?
No, they're just, some people are getting ready to leave.
Sherry, could you take that conversation on?
Yeah, so, yeah, we were just visiting about the dirt removal talk, so we will, I'll talk to you on phone downstairs.
So anyway, 171 million is going to counties across the state. Roberts County estimates are a little over $2 million in funding that's going to come to you in 2 payments. One within probably the next 45 to 60 days, and then the second payment coming a year after that. So you get about $1 million coming up the next month or so, and then another $1 million a year from now. And then just within my planning district here, there's going to be about $23.5 million being allocated directly to county. And then I've got, just in my planning district, about 14 million being directed to municipalities. So every municipality in Roberts County is also going to be receiving a direct, not a direct allocation. Those allocations to cities are being funneled through the state. So for example, Fandu is looking at about over $400,000, not Fandu, but Cisco is looking at a little over $400,000 in payments made out over the next year, $200,000 and another $200,000 later. Again, those funds are being allocated through the state. It's something a little bit different than the counties. There's still very little guidance on how those dollars can be spent. There's about 4 general categories. My advice to every county that I've talked to and municipality I've talked to in the last 2 weeks is just take that money, put it into an account, sit on it for a little bit, and as you're going through your budgeting cycle this summer, think about how you want to spend those one-time dollars, and then we'll have a better idea and guidance from the Department of Treasury on how you can spend that money.
So as opposed to the last couple of payments we've received, there's no qualifications to get this money. Just once we get it, they're going to determine how we can spend it.
You guys are going to get $2 million over the course of the next year.
Perfect.
And the question is, there's some 4 general guidelines. I think the Department of Treasury is going to be refining those guidelines over the next, hopefully, 2 weeks to 6 weeks. My recommendation is just don't go out and buy a new car because you got a bunch of cash. I think I just put it in the bank, wait to see what the rules shake out, and then as you're going through your budgeting process later this spring, early summer, I would take a look at how do you want to utilize those one-time monies.
Wow.
Those allocations to the counties and municipalities, is that information available online anywhere by county?
Yeah, if you guys were to go to it's NACO, National Association of County Officials, NACO. If you go there, and then there'll be a tab that just talks about the American Rescue Plan, and then there you do a little navigating. You can find they got it for the whole nation, but you can find South Dakota's allocations there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning these 4 categories. I mean, do you have any idea what those restrictions might be as to, or is it just too fluid to say? Oh, what, you guys had the conversation? I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. You should have stopped me.
Basically, the first one says you can use the money to respond to public health emergency with respect to COVID or its negative impacts, including assistance to households, small businesses, nonprofits, AIDS-impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. So what that means, in my opinion, is that if there are people that need money because of the COVID impacting their households, their businesses, or nonprofits, and they're asking for you for assistance, you can use that $2 million to assist individuals and businesses and nonprofits directly, either through a grant program or whatever. That's what that does. Number two, I can use it to respond to workers performing essential work by providing premium pay to eligible workers of the county that are performing essential work, or providing grants to eligible employers that are performing essential work, basically public health work. So that could be ambulances, hospitals, sheriff department. The only caveat there is that everybody has to be making at least $15 an hour, and the most that you can give any one person is $25,000, right?
Okay.
And so, again, that one's going to get shook out a little bit. Number three, it says for the provision of government services to the extent of reduction in revenue. So if you can document actual reduction in revenue, you can use that money to replace revenue loss, right? And then the fourth one is make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. Well, from a county perspective, roads would probably be nice to be listed in there as well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, but it doesn't say roads. So I'm waiting to see what the infrastructure is going to be expanded. So I wouldn't go out and stick $2 million into a bridge that you're not sure you're going to get paid back for right now. Because there's still those the restrictions. They're going to be similar to what we were dealing with before with the last CARES money. But I can't tell you what they're going to be to what extent. And so that's why I say hold pat. There's no rush to spend this money as soon as it lands in your pocket. Be the responsible sailor that just got into port and stay on the ship.
Yeah. You were never in the Navy, were you? I was.
I was in the Army.
Todd, when you mentioned water and wastewater and that type of thing, it brought to mind that we have a landfill that's very expensive to operate and maintain, and we're undergoing an expansion now. Do you think any of these funds would be down the road eligible for expenses on that?
Today I say it's probable,
yeah,
and it's possible, but I won't tell you it's for sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you come across something, keep us in mind on that,
Yeah.
would you please?
Yep, as soon as we get it, my plan is to have a conference call with all of the auditors so that we're only telling this message once. And so we'll have all 11 counties on board. We'll have finance officers and auditors from those counties, and we're going to talk about what's eligible for expenses.
When you do that, please archive it so that it can be reviewed later on.
Oh, yep. We'll record it. I don't know if it's going to be great for posterity, but we'll record it anyway.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you guys. Anything else? So, I believe, Dawn, you and Sherry should have the notices of adoptions to be published already. I sent those already.
Yes, we do. I'll get them,
Okay,
I'll get them
so,
to the papers.
Let me know if there's anything else. Sherry, I did see I got a message from from the new deputy zoning person. Give me about a half an hour if you guys want to give me a call, and we can touch base then.
She's gone right now, so
We'll pass it on.
We'll pass it
we'll
on.
pass it on.
Oh, okay. Well, you just tell Sherry to wait a half an hour because I got a couple other phone calls I got to make first.
Very good. I appreciate your help.
So, thank you.
All right, thanks for all your help.
Thank you, Todd.
All right, we'll talk soon. Take care. Have a happy Easter.
You too.
Bye now.
All right.
It's been too long since I had teenagers in my house. I don't handle controversy very well anymore. It's just
I went on that NACO site, but I didn't take enough time to really, so just pull up and NACO.
Right now, it sounds like maybe it's tough to spend that money.
Yeah, but I got his first, on the first one, it's recreation, travel and so forth, so maybe something. You know,
Well, yeah, there you go.
There's things that we might be able to, but yeah, I went to a different site and was reading that too.
Okay.
But not the, you know,
Yeah.
I think
master
that,
site.
for the purpose of land.
So we have 1.4 million already, so it'd be 3.4 million.
And when he does set that up, you know, it'll be on Zoom, so I'll tell you, and if one or two of you wanna come and
That's
sit in on it,
As
that's
soon as I started, I choose,
Oh, that's pretty easy.
I think, maybe Sherry made this a little more complicated. Because it doesn't, what we're dealing with doesn't pertain to this property he's concerned about at all. We're not changing that property.
But he just won't let go of that.
I know, but I think, I'm not sure Sherry made it clear what we're pertaining to it. He thinks it
He's
involves
moving forward.
The old property where he's maintaining there's issues, and maybe there is. It has nothing to do with that property. We're rezoning a piece next to it.
And as far as construction, just with pushing out some trees, that would by no means construction of, would you say it? I mean, Dennis, you've seen it.
I've seen it. I guess I had forgot that the excavation, which he was right, they removed some topsoil,
Yeah.
put down a base of gravel, but they needed a permit to do that.
They need
A
it going?
state, we're not county.
Oh, I thought he said it was within our county
I think county.
permit.
Have we
So you
ever
need
did
a
anything like
permit for
that?
that.
Or is that in our ordinance?
I'm gonna have to look.
You're gonna put in a big cement pad, you need a building permit. That
Yeah.
has to be, where you put gravel or cement, kind of material, it's a building.
So if they would just push them out and put no gravel, you wouldn't need that.
Maybe not, if you just push the trees out.
I mean, I'm thinking, well, every,
Yeah, it sounds like a farmer doing it in the field, you know.
farmers take trees out all the time.
Yeah, removing the trees is okay, but any excavating needs to be permitted. According to Todd, the way I understood it.
If he understood it, yeah, hopefully he has.
That's how I.
But I can pay bills.
Motion by Zempel, pay bills,
Second.
second by Vergil. Any discussion on the bills? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, bills are paid.
We are having issues, if you can hear that little, like we have a baby chick in our office. And when we came to work yesterday, we need it's our smart backup type thing. So I called Connecting Point yesterday, and we can replace the battery in this unit for $205. And otherwise, if we would get a new one, a new UPS, it would be $1,085. Now, I'm thinking let's replace the battery, and that's what Greg from Connecting Point, Greg Richter, also kind of, not really recommended, but that's the way he said he'd go. And then if it is, if we have to replace the unit, we would have a brand new battery just to add.
Sure, backup.
Yeah, and it's all to do with our backup. So I just got this morning, so. So is it okay if I just go ahead and order that battery for $205? Do I need to have a purchase order for that, being it's something that we have to have?
I'll make a motion.
Don't we have a $250 rule for purchase orders?
We have $100 rule.
That's it?
Really?
Oh, boy.
Let's raise that right now. Right, Jason?
We see very few officers putting in purchase orders.
I know. The jail hasn't really put a purchase order in for years. So, but being this is something that we have to have, I don't know.
Yeah. You want to continue with your motion?
I'll make a motion if that's
Motion to
what you
approve.
want. I mean, you gotta do something to get rid of that chick right now.
$100, yeah, we gotta change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a second to approval? Tom, Don has got that. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion
Aye.
carries.
Could that $100 thing be changed to say unless it's under $250, you don't even need a purchase order? I mean, you need a purchase order, you don't need to get prior approval. I mean, you can't buy much for $200, $250. I mean,
Your purchase order is usually signed by the department head.
We had talked about that, Jason, before.
Yes.
Purchases that go through the courier end up getting delayed. You know, somebody needs something on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I mean, I guess if we can't trust our department managers for the $250, we shouldn't have them as department managers. Or whatever the number is, I mean, I don't know.
I think there's between purchase order and prior approval.
Right, if you're gonna go out and buy,
Maybe almost everything should have a purchase order.
right, but if you're gonna go out and buy a computer, you need to get some kind of approval as opposed to just being able to buy everyday supplies to do your business.
$500 purchase maybe would need prior approval, but
Sure.
not $100, $200.
Yeah. I'd be in favor of that.
Okay, so what are you in favor of?
I'm not sure what he said.
Well, I don't know if it maybe needs prior approval if it's over $500.
Yeah, otherwise you just
Otherwise, just
make out a purchase order and you buy it.
Yeah, because we still get to approve the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying $500 and under.
Prior approval, anything under that, you can just
Buy it.
without prior approval.
That would be great.
I need a motion for that too then?
I'll make a motion if you need it.
There's motion by Riel to increase the expenditure approval policy from $100 to $500, or $499, or whatever you want to call it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don, you second?
Don did the second. Any more discussion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That was a
Motion
long
carries.
time, that was a long time coming. Years. Okay, so thanks for that. Do you want me to put this public notice in about our burn ban?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think that situation is only gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Like in the 10 days, there's like 20% chance of rain 1 or 2 days.
Has that been all through the papers and stuff
Yep.
like?
Yep.
No, it with us, too.
I don't know. It's
Well, I came home yesterday from Millbank, and you look off the
What
hills,
else?
and you can already see there's just sort of a dust up
After my
there.
house looking, you can see the hills from my place.
Yeah,
Still,
it was.
it's just
Terrible.
You gonna give it a thought?
Can we give a talk?
Oh, adjourn.
Ask me.
Are we finished?
I don't have anything
Nothing else? All right. A motion by Zephyr to adjourn, there's a second by Carlson, all in favor of that one.
They didn't even adjourn today.
Motion carries. We're done for the day, thank you.
Nice, we'll go home with an extra $2 million.
Hey, you didn't hear that last week.
No, I didn't, I saw you guys just out there.
This live stream is brought to you by Dakota Pawn and Thrift for all your pawn needs, Countryside Inn Assisted Living and Memory Care in Rossalt, for your family is our family, First Savings Bank of Sisseton, use our online banking to save you time, Stilson Service in Sisseton with Marathon Fuels, Tri-State Water in Sisseton for all your water needs, water softeners and reverse osmosis right here in Sisseton. And of course, the Sisseton Courier, where we do more than the weekly newspaper. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
I called public health, and if they have extra shots on Friday.
This live stream is brought to you by Dakota Pawn and Thrift for all your pawn needs, Countryside Inn Assisted Living and Memory Care in Rossalt, where your family is our family, First Savings Bank of Sisseton, use our online banking to save you time, Stilson Service in Sisseton with Marathon Fuels, Tri-State Water in Sisseton for all your water needs. Water softeners and reverse osmosis right here in Sisseton. And of course, the Sisseton Courier, where we do more than the weekly newspaper. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Deb Woolley wants you guys to hang out, if you knew Evelyn Shook, they have a memory book for Joan Evelyn. Deb Woolley's gonna come back up and get